Chapter 75. Ning Qing did not believe that his luck was really that good. He was not even able to figure out what was going on, when an explosion resounded above his head, followed by a large amount of lightning falling down. This large amount of lightning fell not far in front of Ning Qing. The yellow sand where the lightning fell instantly turned into nothingness, as a huge whirlpool appeared out of thin air. The surrounding yellow sand at this moment fell into this whirlpool, causing the whirlpool to grow bigger and bigger. This kind of terrible suction force, even Ning Qing could feel it. Ning Qing, at this moment, came to understand, these sand monstrous beasts knew that the lightning was coming, so they immediately fled. Once these lightning fell on those monstrous beasts, there was simply no need to ask. He knew that those monstrous beasts would immediately turn into nothingness. At this moment, Ning Qing could not continue to stay in the same place. He immediately rushed out, and followed the direction of those sand monstrous beasts. Ning Qing had just left, when the place where he was standing, another large amount of lightning fell down. This large amount of lightning instantly turned the place where he was standing into dust. The whirlpool in the sand directly connected with the place where he was standing, as it grew bigger and bigger. This kind of formidable might, not to say that he had the cultivation of true condensation realm, even if he had the cultivation of essence building realm, if he was swept by this lightning, he would only be able to wait for death. Ning Qing almost mobilized all of his speed, as he rushed forward in a line of yellow sand. The third lightning fell down. This lightning was still a few feet away from Ning Qing, but the aftermath of the lightning was enough to turn the clothes that Ning Qing had just changed into dust. As the third lightning fell down, the lightning became more and more concentrated, and seemed to be getting closer and closer. Ning Qing, who was running all the way, finally understood the pattern of these lightning, although the lightning was huge, but all of them were in a straight line. When Ning Qing tried to escape, he no longer followed a straight line, but consciously tried to escape diagonally. Boom boom, sounds constantly resounded from behind Ning Qing. As Ning Qing escaped all the way, there were constantly pits in the sand. Fortunately, Ning Qing was already experienced in this, although these sand pits and whirlpools appeared abruptly, but they were not able to bring him in. What really made him dread was the terrifying lightning that was coming from behind him. After half a day, Ning Qing felt that the sound of the thunder behind him was getting smaller and smaller, before it finally disappeared in another direction. Ning Qing stopped, as he continued to gasp for breath and spoke to himself, so this is how the Thunder Fall Desert came to be. The most terrible thing in this place is actually this kind of thunder. Ning Qing had just breathed a sigh of relief when a loud whistle whistled through the air, followed by a white light rushing out from the distant horizon. Someone? Ning Qing quickly determined that these whistling sounds were man-made. At this point of time, he had already lost his way in the Thunder Fall Desert, so when he saw someone, how could he possibly miss them? He immediately rushed towards the place where the white light was coming from. Half an hour later, Ning Qing appeared on the periphery of this place. At the same time, he also determined that there were indeed people in this place. Not only were there people, but there were also buildings that looked like Mongolian yurts. Inside these Mongolian yurts, there was a large expanse of green, and even an incomparably clear lake. There were several soldiers standing guard around this temporary building. In Ning Qing's view, the cultivation of these guards were extremely poor. The highest among them was only an ordinary martial artist. Moreover, there was not even a trace of chi fluctuations coming from their bodies. At most, there was only a bit of fierce murderous aura. This place is so dangerous. How did these people get here? Ning Qing was getting more and more surprised in his heart. In this place, even if one's cultivation was a bit poor, they would still be swallowed up by the desert at any time, but he actually found these guards who did not have any cultivation at all. Ning Qing rubbed his eyes. He almost thought that he was seeing things. Ning Qing decided to go and take a look. In the shortest possible time, he took off the tattered clothes on his body, and used the dust removal method to wash himself, and then put on a clean set of clothes, and then carried the spear on his back. Then he slowly walked towards the Mongolian yurt-like place, while at the same time he concealed his cultivation at Qi Gathering 7th level. The cultivations of these people were not high. some of them did not even have any cultivation. He did not want to stand out too much. Ning Cheng had just approached the Mongolian yurt-like area, when two soldiers who were guarding the place saw Ning Cheng, and immediately came over. "Excuse me, two friends, I am lost in this place, I am thirsty and hungry, I would like to borrow a place to rest for a while." Ning Cheng did not wait for the two soldiers to speak, as he first came forward and politely cupped his fists in greeting. The two soldiers looked at Ning Cheng from head to toe. Ning Cheng did not look like a thirsty and hungry person. On the contrary, he looked more like a neighbor who came to visit. One of the soldiers winked at the other person. After the other person saw the winking, he quickly turned around and left. After the other person left, the soldier said to Ning Cheng, "Please stay, this is the royal carriage of our king, if you want to go in, you must first get a report." Ning Cheng looked at the soldier's expression, and knew that things were not as simple as what the other party had said. He casually said, "Oh, in that case, I will change to another place to rest." Saying that, Ning Cheng turned around to leave. When the soldier saw that Ning Cheng was about to leave, he quickly stopped in front of Ning Cheng and said, "My friend, please stop, before we figure out your origin, you cannot leave this place." Ning Cheng raised an eyebrow and said, "What's wrong, do you think this place belongs to you? I am just passing through here, not only do you not give me water to drink, but you also want to rob me?" The soldier who stopped Ning Cheng was just about to speak, when he heard a deep and resounding voice. The king said, "Since you have come, then come in." When Ning Cheng heard this voice, he immediately understood that the person who spoke was at least at true condensation 3rd level, indicating that the appearance of these yurts in this place was not a simple matter. "Yes." The soldier respectfully replied, and then turned to Ning Cheng and politely said, "My friend, please follow me. Lead the way." Ning Cheng did not intend to leave, he just wanted to ask about the route. If he did not ask about the correct route, then it was very likely that he would fall in this Thunderfall desert. These people dared to arrange so many temporary yurts in this place. Moreover, they also knew that there was a desert oasis here, so the probability of them knowing the correct route was more than 90%. This kind of opportunity, how could Ning Cheng let it go? After entering the range of these yurts, Ning Cheng discovered that these yurts were arranged in a unique position, forming a defensive array formation, which just surrounded the oasis in the middle. And next to the oasis, there was a particularly large yurt. The soldier led Ning Cheng to the entrance of the largest yurt, and said to Ning Cheng, "The master has summoned you, you can go in." Ning Cheng used his spiritual consciousness to sweep a few meters around him, but did not find any abnormalities, and then slowly walked in. This yurt was very large. Ning Cheng felt as if he had entered a large auditorium. The area was at least a few hundred square meters. At the top sat a long-haired, barefooted young girl. This young girl seemed to be very weak and incomparably beautiful. The only thing that made people uncomfortable was that her eyes were slightly triangular, which did not match her soft and beautiful face. In Ning Cheng's view, she did not have any true essence fluctuations, so she should have never cultivated. But the feeling that this young girl gave Ning Cheng was very strange. On both sides of this young girl stood a man and a woman. The woman had a rough face, and was extremely valiant. Ning Cheng could see that her cultivation level was the Great Circle of Qi gathering 9th level. On the other side was a man with soft skin, just like a pretty boy, but his cultivation level was already at true condensation 3rd level. Further down, there were 2 rows of guards on the left and right. Their cultivations were basically at Qi gathering 9th level. In addition to this, in the corner of the hall, there were 3 cultivators hanging with ropes, 2 men and 1 woman. What made Ning Cheng surprised was that these 3 cultivators had the cultivation of true condensation realm, but the 3 of them did not even have the slightest ability to resist. Their heads were hanging down, and the circulation of the true essence in their bodies seemed to be incomparably sluggish. There were several soldiers holding whips in their hands standing beside the 3 people. From the scars on the bodies of the 3 people, it could be seen that their injuries were caused by these soldiers. The most miserable one was the female cultivator. She was already at true condensation 2nd level. Her clothes were torn apart, revealing her white skin. But this white skin was also riddled with scars. This whiteness could only be vaguely seen from these scars. These three people were obviously still breathing. When they heard the sound of Ning Cheng coming in, they raised their heads together, and looked at Ning Cheng in puzzlement. A very strange smell came. Ning Cheng felt that this smell was very strange. It was similar to the smell that he had smelled when he was fighting with the group of monstrous beasts in the desert. This kind of smell made him extremely uncomfortable, but fortunately with the circulation of his true essence, this smell quickly dissipated. "Master, this is the person who broke into the king's carriage forbidden area." When the soldier who had rushed back saw Ning Cheng come in, he quickly came forward and knelt down. The woman who was addressed as master waved her hand and said, "I know, you can go out now." After the soldier went out, the young girl looked up and down at Ning Cheng, who was not even half a bit nervous. Ning Cheng's clothes were incomparably clean, and he was carrying a wrapped spear on his back. It was as if he was just taking a stroll here. Even standing there was not even a shred of uneasiness. The young girl frowned, and slowly asked, "Who are you? Why did you break into my North Jew tribe's encampment?" North Jew tribe. Ning Cheng did not know what kind of place North Jew tribe was. He came here to ask about the correct route to the Hua continent. Hearing these words, he quickly cupped his fists and politely said, "My name is Ning Shao Cheng. I was just passing by. It really is a misunderstanding." The chi-gathering 9th-level sturdy-looking woman who was standing next to the young girl suddenly shouted at Ning Cheng, "Beast, in front of the king, why are you not kneeling down before me?" Ning Cheng's face sank. He had come here to ask questions, not to beg for mercy. In Ning Cheng's dictionary, there was no such thing as begging for mercy. Ning Cheng suddenly took a few steps forward. When all the people thought that he was going to speak, Ning Cheng suddenly took a step forward, and in a blink of an eye arrived in front of the sturdy-looking woman, as he raised his hands and slapped her twice. "Pa pa." Two clear and crisp sounds resounded. When everyone saw Ning Cheng once again return to his original position, the sturdy-looking woman who had cursed at Ning Cheng had two purplish-red palm marks on her face. Chapter 76. There were nearly 20 people in the room, but only one of them reacted to Ning Cheng's attack. It was the true condensation 3rd-level man who was standing on the other side of the young girl. But although he was the first one to react to Ning Cheng's slap, but he did not get up to stop it. When Ning Cheng was about to slap the fierce-looking woman, he was already prepared to wait for the true condensation realm man to get up to stop him. Once the true condensation realm man got up to stop him, he would immediately use his axe fist to chop out, and then slap the fierce-looking woman. He did not expect that the true condensation realm man would not stop him, which made Ning Cheng a little surprised, but then Ning Cheng came to understand, this person should have some kind of grudge with the fierce-looking woman. Seeing a passerby daring to hit a person in front of the king, moreover the one who was hit was the king's most favored bodyguard, the people in the room were shocked. The three cultivators who were hung up looked at Ning Cheng in surprise. They did not know where Ning Cheng got such courage from. "You are courting death." The fierce-looking woman did not think that Ning Cheng would dare to hit her, and immediately became angry. Her whole body was burning with anger, and looked like she was about to rush towards Ning Cheng. The young girl who was sitting in the middle immediately stopped her, and the fierce-looking woman immediately calmed down. She stared at Ning Cheng with anger in her eyes, but she did not rush towards Ning Cheng again. The young girl stared at Ning Cheng a few more times, and then said in a cold voice, "Don't tell me that you think you have some skills, and come to my North Jew tribe to teach people a lesson. My North Jew tribe has always been hospitable. We invited you here as a guest, but not for you to show off your strength." Saying that, she pointed to the three cultivators who were hung up and said, "Do you know why they are hung up? Because they came to my North Jew tribe to show off their strength. Bah! If you do not use underhanded means, then you are just a fart. What North Jew tribe, this father can kill all of you by himself." A male cultivator who was hung up spat, and said with disdain, "Oh, since that is the case, then I will put you down, and then let's have a spar. Let's see if you really are as powerful as you say." The man at true condensation 3rd level finally spoke out in an indifferent manner. When the male cultivator who was hung up heard the words of the man at true condensation third level, he immediately shut his mouth. It was obvious that he had suffered a loss in the hands of the opposite party. Thinking that the enemy of my enemy is my friend, Ning Cheng laughed and said, "So it turned out to be a sneak attack. Ah, I was just wondering how these trash were able to catch 3 experts. You haven't answered my question." The murderous aura in the young girl's eyes was getting more and more intense. The people around them did not know why their king was so patient this time, and had not even spoken out against Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng suddenly took a few steps forward. When the man at the true condensation third level saw Ning Cheng walking towards their king, he quickly took a step forward, and blocked Ning Cheng's path, while at the same time his entire body was shrouded in an evil qi. As long as the young girl gave the word, he could immediately start at any time. Ning Cheng stopped, as he stared at the girl and spoke, "Guest? I've been standing here for a long time. Why haven't I seen a cup of tea? Why didn't he see a chair?" Instead, the dog barked a few times. "Bad luck, bad luck." Saying that, Ning Cheng clapped his hands, as if he really wanted to slap away the bad luck in his hands. "Kill him." The girl finally couldn't hold back her anger and coldly spat out 2 words. The 8 Qi gathering 9th level cultivators on both sides immediately swarmed forward. They had long been waiting for their master to say these 2 words. Now that they heard it, how could they be even half a bit slow? Ning Cheng did not even take out the long spear on his back. He was only at the true condensation first level. If he needed to use an artifact to deal with several Qi gathering 9th level cultivators, then it would simply be a joke. Almost at the same time, he blasted out 4 fists. Or it should be said that he had blasted out 4 fists, 4 axe fists in succession. The 4 axe fists looked like they came one after the other, but when they were really swept out, it was as if they came out at the same time. A violent and intense killing intent instantly enveloped the entire room. The complexion of the man at the true condensation third level changed. He could see the killing intent of the great axe in Ning Cheng's fist shadows. Ning Cheng was obviously unarmed, but he seemed to have seen several axe shadows chopping out. This person was definitely a strong opponent. The man at the true condensation third level waved his hand, and an octagonal hammer-type artifact appeared in his hands. Not waiting for him to come forward, he heard puff puff. 4 consecutive sounds. Out of the 8 Qi gathering 9th level cultivators who had rushed towards Ning Cheng, 4 of them had already fallen to the ground. The other 4 people stared blankly at the 4 corpses lying on the ground in a pool of blood. Their faces were pale, and did not dare to come forward. The complexion of the young girl who had fallen to the ground also changed, and immediately stood up. Ning Cheng found that when this young girl stood up, she was unexpectedly not shorter than him. "Hey, there was the poisonous gas of the poisonous sand beast, how come you were not affected by it?" A male cultivator who was hung up in the air called out in surprise. "What is the poisonous gas of the poisonous sand beast?" Ning Cheng asked in a puzzled voice. He seemed to have smelt some strange unpleasant odor before, but under the circulation of his true essence, this unpleasant odor immediately disappeared. Could it be that this was the poisonous gas of the sand poison sharp-fanged beasts? The poisonous sand beast is one of the most terrible monstrous beasts in the Thunder Fall Desert. This kind of sand monstrous beasts generally live in groups. Moreover, they hide the sky and cover the earth as they move around the desert. Their mouths are filled with mucus, and their whole body is covered with sarcomas of different sizes, and looks to be only a foot long. When you see this kind of monstrous beast, you must immediately escape, otherwise you can only wait for your death. The sarcomas on the body of these monstrous beasts contain a highly toxic gas. Once you kill this monstrous beast, this highly toxic gas will be released. After a cultivator smells it, their whole body will become weak and powerless, and they will not be able to use their true essence. These monstrous beasts of North Jew tribe collect this kind of poisonous gas, because we were careless and fell into their trap. Otherwise, with just a few trifling Qi gathering cultivators, this father would have already chopped them to pieces. This male cultivator said with hatred in his voice. The man at the true condensation third level suddenly whispered in the young girl's ear, "My king, this person is most likely to have taken the antidote. This antidote should be specifically used to counter the poisonous gas of the poisonous sand beast. Perhaps it might even be the desert geocentric spring tea. Looking at this person's strong killing intent, he is absolutely not simple, and should not be any worse than me." The young girl's face had already changed, but at this moment she calmed down, and said to the other people, "Clean up, and give young Master Ning a seat." "My king." That sturdy-looking woman was eager to speak, but the young girl just waved her hand, and immediately stopped her from speaking. The few guards were very fast, and in the shortest time possible, they had already cleaned up the room, not even a single trace of blood could be seen. "Take these 3 people away first, my North Jew tribe will have to receive some distinguished guests." The young girl casually pointed to the 2 men and the woman who were hung up and said. Not waiting for the few guards to take away the 3 people, Ning Qing suddenly raised his hand and shot out a few wind edges. The 3 cultivators who were hung up were immediately put down by Ning Qing. Ning Qing casually shot out a few more wind edges, and the ropes binding them were completely broken. "Haha, these few friends look somewhat familiar to me, I will have to talk about old times with them." Ning Qing did not care about the attitude of the young girl. "Many thanks to this friend for saving us, but we were all poisoned by the poisonous gas of the poisonous sand beast, and are unable to condense our true essence, so there is no way for us to help you." The 3 people separately came over to Ning Qing to express their gratitude. Ning Qing raised his hand and grabbed a few chairs. "Everyone please sit down, my hometown has a saying, the enemy of my enemy. No, within the 4 seas we are all brothers, there is no need to be polite." "Well said, within the 4 seas we are all brothers." The thin true condensation cultivator among the 3 people clapped his hands, indicating that he agreed with Ning Cheng's words. Clap clap, the face of the young queen at this time did not have even half a shred of anger, as she clapped her hands and said with a smile, "What young Master Ning said is very good, within the 4 seas we are all brothers. Mei Su, you go and prepare some good wine, for today we are able to meet such a capable person like young Master Ning." The woman who was slapped twice by Ning Cheng, when she heard these words, quickly bowed and said, "Yes, your majesty." Saying that she quickly turned around and walked out. Ning Cheng sneered in his heart, this woman called Mei Su had a storage bag on her, how could she not have some good wine? This woman went out, she was definitely going to arrange some means to trap him here. But Ning Cheng was not afraid, when he came here he already knew that there were no powerful people in this place. Even if it was an array formation formed by a Mongolian yurt, in his eyes it was just an ordinary array formation. The most powerful true condensation third-level cultivator was now in front of him, he was not worried about being plotted against. "This little sister, I have a request. I just met these 3 friends, but these 3 friends have been poisoned by the poisonous gas of the poisonous sand sharp-fanged beasts. I see that this little sister has a kind heart, why don't you take out a little antidote for my 3 friends to detoxify them?" Ning Cheng cupped his fists towards the king, and said with a smile. Hearing Ning Cheng call their king, little sister, the guards in the room were incomparably angry. The eyes of the young queen flashed with anger and killing intent, and then she said with an apologetic smile, "The poisonous gas of the poisonous sand sharp-fanged beasts needs the desert geocentric spring tea to detoxify them, it would be best to take it in advance. The desert geocentric spring tea is a rare treasure, it is priceless, my North Jew tribe is just a small tribe, how could we have such a precious thing? The reason why we are not poisoned, is because we are in contact with this poisonous gas all year round, and are already used to it. Since young Master Ning is not afraid of this poisonous gas, then presumably you have the desert geocentric spring tea. If Brother Ning is willing to take out this desert geocentric spring tea, my North Jew tribe is willing to buy it at a high price." This woman not only said that they did not have this spiritual tea, but also blocked Ning Cheng's question about how they were fine. Not to mention these, she also provoked the relationship between Ning Cheng and the 3 people that he had just saved. Her meaning was that you are not poisoned, obviously you have the antidote, you keep saying that within the 4 seas we are all brothers, how come I don't see you taking out the antidote? How could Ning Cheng not know the meaning of this woman? He was just about to speak, when he heard the female cultivator that he had just saved open her mouth and say, "Elder brother Ning, my clothes are torn, please." When Ning Cheng heard these words, he immediately understood what she meant. He secretly cursed himself for being careless, and turned to look at the young queen. When the young girl saw Ning Cheng looking at her, she quickly said to the maid beside her, "Quickly take these 3 guests to change their clothes, do not neglect young Master Ning's friends." Chapter 77. After the banquet was served, the 3 people who went to change their clothes had already returned to their rooms. Although the 3 of them looked normal, but their true essence was scattered, it was clear that they were just an empty shell. Ning Cheng gave a chuckle and greeted the 3 of them first. When the 3 of them saw Ning Cheng greet them, they quickly came forward to thank him. Ning Cheng also knew the names of the 3 people. The one with a fiery temper, medium build, dark skin was a male cultivator called Lu Hongfang, and had the cultivation of true condensation 2nd level. The other male cultivator was called Huang Yuan Bo, with slender eyes and fair skin, but only had the cultivation of true condensation 1st level. The woman was called Pei Shan. She looked somewhat quiet, she had an oval face, her eyes did not even have half a flicker, she seemed to be very opinionated. After the 3 of them sat down, Ning Cheng asked, "Are the 3 of you really poisoned by the poisonous gas of the poisonous sand beast?" Lu Hongfang glared at the young girl, and said in a low voice, "That's right, we were plotted against by this woman." "Is there a way to get rid of the poisonous gas?" Ning Cheng knew that these cultivators who walked in the desert all year round would have a variety of methods. Although he had no way to get rid of the poisonous gas, it did not mean that others would not be able to. Pei Shan might have injured her throat, as her voice was somewhat hoarse. When she heard Ning Cheng's words, she took the initiative to reply, "The poisonous gas of the poisonous sand beast is very difficult to get rid of." She did not lie about it, only the desert geocentric spring tea can detoxify it. Because the desert geocentric spring tea is very difficult to find, so once you meet a poisonous sand beast in the Thunder Fall Desert, you will not fight, and will generally take the initiative to escape. Huang Yuanbo looked at the frowning Ning Cheng and said, "The amount of desert geocentric spring tea needed to detoxify the poisonous gas of the poisonous sand beast is not much, just a drop would be enough." Ning Cheng bowed his head and frowned. He was thinking about when he had drunk the desert geocentric spring tea, how could he not be afraid of the poisonous gas, and did not care about Huang Yuanbo's words. Lu Hongfang and Pei Shan also did not care about Huang Yuanbo's words, only the young queen's mouth showed a hint of a smile. Apparently she knew that the seed that she had planted had already sprouted. At least this Huang Yuanbo thought that Ning Cheng had the geocentric spring tea. At this time, Ning Cheng had already thought of the place where he had drunk the spiritual tea. It was at the Yishui courtyard, where Lu Hanyu had poured him a cup of spiritual tea. It was slightly bitter, but it immediately made people salivate, making people feel a bit nostalgic. Could it be that it was the desert geocentric spring tea? Lu Hanyu was just a destitute woman, how could she possibly have such a precious spirit tea? Could it be that Brother Ning is also passing through the Thunder Fall Desert? Lu Hongfang's temperament was more direct, as he immediately interrupted Ning Cheng's thoughts. Exactly. Ning Cheng remembered what he had wanted to ask before. What was this North Ju tribe? He did not know, but Lu Hongfang and the other 2 people were definitely like him. They were definitely people who could pass through the desert. These people might also have a map. How did the 3 of you end up here? Could it be that you are also the same as me, and want to pass through the Thunder Fall Desert to reach the Hua continent? Ning Cheng also directly asked. When the young queen saw that these people did not even put her in their eyes, her complexion turned slightly ugly, but she soon recovered to normal. She took the initiative to take out the wine pot and poured a cup of wine for Ning Cheng and said, "On behalf of the North Ju tribe, I would like to thank young Master Ning for coming to my North Ju tribe's encampment as a guest." When Lu Hongfang saw Ning Cheng pick up the wine cup, his face immediately turned anxious. He was just about to speak, but Ning Cheng had already drank the cup of wine. Ning Cheng certainly knew that Lu Hongfang was afraid that the wine was poisoned, but now that the lives of the 3 of them were tied to his hands, it was normal for Lu Hongfang to be anxious. Ning Cheng was now extremely careful, as he had already checked the cup of wine once. Seeing that Ning Cheng was all right, Lu Hongfang felt relieved in his heart, and said aloud, "The three of us really wanted to go to the Hua continent. Originally there were 5 of us, but 2 of us fell on the way. Just a day ago, we inadvertently obtained a treasure map. The treasure map turned out to be the ruins of the Lan country that had disappeared countless of years ago in the Thunder Fall Desert. The 3 of us were overjoyed, and wanted to find the ruins of the Lan country, but did not think that we would be led here by these despicable people." Saying that, Lu Hongfang still had an angry look on his face as he stared at the young queen. The young queen said in a neither fast nor slow manner, "Young Master Ning, what Brother Lu said is indeed true. He had obtained the map from a trader of my North Ju tribe. This map is indeed the ruins of the Lan country, but you may not know this, but my North Ju tribe was once the Lan country. When the Lan country was destroyed, there were a few elders who protected the blood of the country and fled to the North Ju tribe, leaving behind my branch. Now that some people want to go to my Lan country to excavate the ruins, as the king of the North Ju tribe, how can I let the things of my Lan country fall into the hands of others? Not to mention that the treasure map that they obtained was also leaked out from my North Ju tribe." Lu Hongfang pointed at the young queen and laughed, "It was your North Ju tribe that leaked it out. Ba, do you still have any face?" Not to mention that the North Ju tribe was not something that was left behind by the Lan country. Even if it was, the Lan country does not have the right to say that it was theirs. The reason why the Lan country chose to establish their country in the desert was not because of the desert, but because the Lan country found the ruins of a sea-opening realm powerhouse in the desert. The Lan country, in order to find the ruins of the sea-opening realm powerhouse, chose to establish a country in the Thunder Fall Desert. But they did not expect that the Lan country, after establishing their country in the desert, would instead promote the prosperity of the country. I do not know if they found the ruins of the sea-opening realm, but the Lan country is becoming more and more prosperous. Ning Cheng really could not believe that a country could be established in the Thunder Fall Desert. The Thunder Fall Desert was a terrible place, he had personally experienced it. Seeing Ning Cheng's doubts, Shi Pei Shan took the initiative and said, "Elder brother Ning, what elder brother Lu said is true. The Lan country was established in the desert countless years ago. Originally the Lan country was established on the edge of the desert, but after many years of vicissitudes, the erosion of the Thunder Fall Desert became more and more severe, causing the desert to become bigger and bigger. Originally the Lan country was established on the edge of the Thunder Fall Desert, but after many years of vicissitudes, the erosion of the Thunder Fall Desert became more and more severe, causing the desert to become bigger and bigger. Because of this, it led to the destruction of the Lan country." Huang Yuanbo, who rarely spoke, after listening to Shi Pei Shan's words, explained, "I heard that the Lan country was not destroyed because of the lightning in the Thunder Fall Desert, but because the Lan country found the ruins of the sea-opening realm powerhouse, and as a result attracted many experts from all over the world. These powerful experts fought in the Lan country, and as a result caused the destruction of the entire Lan country. Later on in the Thunder Fall Desert, the most powerful yellow dragon passed through, and all the cultivators who were fighting, as well as all the people from the Lan country disappeared. Because of this, the Lan country also disappeared in the vast sea of sand." Yellow dragon. When Ning Cheng heard these 2 words, he immediately thought of the yellow sand that had swept him away. Afterwards he had used his fist axe filled with killing intent to break through the yellow sand, and only then was he able to escape. Lu Hongfang replied, "That's right, in the Thunder Fall Desert, in addition to the fearful poisonous sand beasts, there is also the Thunder Fall Yellow Dragon. This kind of yellow dragon looks like a sand dragon that was formed by the sand. Once you are caught in it, it would be very difficult to escape, and would eventually be torn into pieces by the yellow dragon. This is only a small Thunder Fall yellow dragon. The biggest yellow dragon is said to be thousands of miles long. If you meet this kind of yellow dragon, then even if it was a country, I estimate that it would only be swallowed up." Ning Cheng understood that what had swept him away should be a small yellow dragon. If it was a big one, then perhaps he would not have been able to escape. What Ning Cheng was most interested in at this time was the immortal cave of a sea-opening realm cultivator. He was no longer a young boy who had just arrived here. He was very clear in his heart that the cultivation of a cultivator was the same as the competition in the business world. Once you discover a limited amount of resources, if you do not fight for them, then these resources would be snatched away by others, and you could only helplessly watch the other people continue to advance, and leave you behind. In the I Ching mainland's 9 great realms, the sea-opening realm was just below the Crucible Transformation realm. Once you stepped into the Crucible Transformation realm, then according to the legends, you would be able to tear apart the heaven and earth and escape far away. Of course, this knowledge, Ning Cheng came to know from the mouth of Tai Shu Yi. When he came out from the Ping continent, he only knew that above the essence-building realm was the profound congealing realm, and above the profound congealing realm was the profound core realm. As for the realms after the profound core realm, he knew nothing about it. After arriving at the Yuan continent and talking with Tai Shu Yi, he came to know that after the profound core realm was the soul essence realm, after the soul essence realm was the soul sculpting realm, after passing through the soul sculpting realm was the sea opening realm. From this it could be seen that the immortal cave of a sea opening realm powerhouse was extremely precious. Lu Hongfang had said that the Lan Yi True Country, in order to obtain a sea-opening realm's immortal cave, had established a country in the Thunder Fall Desert. Ning Cheng did not find it strange at all. Ning Cheng suddenly looked at the young queen and spoke, "Your Majesty, I think that the secret map obtained by Brother Lu should be with you, right? Can you take it out and let me see what kind of secret map it is?" The young queen's complexion slightly changed. She knew that Ning Cheng would want the map of the Lan Yi country's ruins, but she did not think that Ning Cheng would be so straightforward. If Ning Cheng tried to beat around the bush, she would definitely come up with a variety of excuses. The man at the true condensation 3rd level who was standing next to the young queen laughed and said, "Mr. Ning, our Wang Shangjing is a guest of our North Ju tribe. For you to come to our North Ju tribe encampment can be considered as a kind of fate. We entertain young Master Ning with good wine and good food, but young Master Ning actually dares to openly ask for my North Ju tribe's secret map. Could it be that you really think that my North Ju tribe is easy to bully? You have a map of the North Ju Empire. This map was obviously taken from me by you, and you still have the face to say that it is your North Ju Kingdom's map?" Lu Hongfang said in a sarcastic tone. At this moment, a burst of hurried footsteps rushed in. Ning Cheng was slightly puzzled in his heart, who had such a big courage, and dared to directly rush into the yurt of the North Ju tribe's king. The one who came in was a young man, with thick eyebrows and thin eyes, and a hooked nose which made his face look extremely unique. Ning Cheng could see at a glance that this young man's cultivation level was actually the highest here, with the cultivation level of true condensation 4th level. "Xiao Xiao." This hooked-nosed man called out, but when he saw Ning Cheng and the others, he did not finish his words. Calling the North Ju tribe's king Xiao Xiao, it seems that the relationship between this hooked-nosed man and this king was not simple at all. "Yes, we have found the secret map, so I sent a signal to call you over," the young queen called Xiao Xiao said with a smile. The hooked-nosed man's gaze fell on Ning Cheng and the others. He did not know who Ning Cheng and the others were, but Xiao Xiao unexpectedly directly spoke about the secret map in front of them. Chapter 78. Who are they? The aquiline-nosed man's eyes swept over Ning Cheng and the others. Xiao Xiao smiled and pointed at Ning Cheng and said, "This is Ning Xiaocheng. Yu Xing said that this young Master Ning has an astonishing cultivation level, even a true condensation cultivator would not be his opponent." Ning Cheng suddenly stood up and cupped his fists towards this hook-nosed man, and said with a smile, "I have not yet asked this friend for your surname." "North Ju's Pei Guanghe, elder brother Ning is truly amazing. I would like to get closer to you in the future." The aquiline-nosed man cupped his fists towards Ning Cheng with a fake smile on his face. Ning Cheng did not wait for Xiao Xiao to speak again, and continued, "These 3 are my friends, and are also the ones who found the map of the ruins of the Lan Yi country. However, they were accidentally poisoned by the poisonous gas of the poisonous sand beasts in the desert. King Xiu Xiu was about to help them detoxify the poison. Oh yes, I don't know if Brother Pei has any desert geocentric spring tea that can detoxify poison. If there is, that would be the best. Pei Guanghe did not take out the antidote because of Ning Cheng's abrupt words, but rather looked at Xiu Xiu with a puzzled gaze. Xiu Xiu did not directly give an answer, but let everyone sit down again, and then said, Lu Hongfang and the other two really did obtain the map of the ruins, and also gave it to me. But this map was lost by my North Ju tribe, so my idea is, since everyone has gathered together because of this map, why don't we go to the ruins together to look for it? Pei Guanghe's arrival made this young queen's heart calm down. No matter how powerful Ning Cheng was, he was only a single person. Now that Pei Guanghe and Yu Xing were the two of them, they could definitely deal with Ning Cheng. As for Pei Guanghe's strength, she was very clear about it. It was also because of this that she changed her mind. She might as well drag these people along to search for the ruins. Even if something were to happen, he could still find a few cannon fodder. Pei Guanghe and Xiu Xiu's eyes met, and immediately understood the thoughts of the young queen, as he laughed and said, That's right, there are many things in the ruins. We won't be able to take it. If we all go together, we'll be stronger. Just as he finished speaking, Mei Su, who had been sent out by the young girl, came in from the side. Mei Su whispered a few words into the young girl's ear. Xiu Xiu nodded and didn't express any opinion. As Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual sense, he found that within the range of his spiritual sense, many soldiers had appeared. Not only that, but he also set up some simple trapping arrays. Ning Cheng found it funny in his heart, this was just a level 1 entrapment array, and they even dared to show off in front of him. Lu Hongfang suddenly said in a loud voice, If you want to go to the ruins together then there is no problem, but first we need to get rid of the poison in our bodies. Pei Guanghe suddenly said, This is my negligence. I originally wanted to help you detoxify the poison as soon as I came in, but because we were talking about something else, I actually forgot. Even if the few of you do not want to go together with me, but since the few of you were able to find the map of my Lani country, I will definitely help you. While speaking, Pei Guanghe really took out 3 jade cups, then took out a gray gourd, and poured a little green tea into the 3 jade cups. 3 friends, please have the desert geocentric spring tea. Hearing Pei Guanghe say that this was geocentric spring tea, Lu Hongfang was the first to pick up the cup and drink it in one gulp. Seeing Lu Hongfang drink his tea, Huang Yuanbo and Shi Pei Shan also drank their tea without hesitation. After a moment, Lu Hongfang laughed and said, Thank you Brother Pei, the poison in my body has really been cured. Count me, Lu Hongfang, in the ruins, I will not shrink back. Huang Yuanbo also cupped his fists towards Pei Guanghe to show his gratitude. Only Shi Pei Shan did not thank Pei Guanghe, but cupped her fists towards Ning Cheng and said, Thank you Brother Ning for saving our lives. Lu Hongfang on hearing Shi Pei Shan's words, patted his head and said, It was my fault, I should thank Brother Ning. Saying that, he also expressed his gratitude towards Ning Cheng. Huang Yuanbo on seeing this, also expressed his gratitude towards Ning Cheng. But Ning Cheng felt that Huang Yuanbo's gratitude was somewhat perfunctory, although Lu Hongfang did not think of it in the first place, but his gratitude towards him was quite sincere. Good, the poison in the 3 of you has been cured, I can finally breathe a sigh of relief, now let's discuss how to go to the ruins of the Lani country. The young queen seemed to be really relieved, as she stood up and said. Saying that, she once again put a leather scroll into the hands of Pei Guanghe. That is the map. Shi Pei Shan on seeing this, whispered a few words in Ning Cheng's ear. Pei Guanghe seemed to have heard Shi Pei Shan's words, as he glanced at the map once, and then handed it to Ning Cheng, Brother Ning, would you like me to put this map in your hands? Ning Cheng took the map and also casually glanced at it, and once again returned the map and said, Brother Pei is the owner, this map of the ruins should be placed in the hands of Brother Pei. But Xiu Xiu looked at Ning Cheng with a puzzled expression, Ning Cheng had wanted this map before, why did he suddenly not want the map? To say that Ning Cheng with just a glance, was able to remember all the routes and contents of the map, she absolutely did not believe it. A cultivator could use their spiritual sense, so they could sweep the entire map with just a glance, but sweeping it once and remembering it completely were two different things. Why don't you put it in my hands? Lu Hongfang had a good impression of Ning Cheng, but he did not like Ning Cheng's way of doing things. Since other people have already given you the map, why would you refuse? All right. Pei Guanghe did not hesitate to put the map in Lu Hongfang's hands, and simultaneously stood up and said to Xiao, let's go now. If we know about this map of the ruins, and do not rush there in time, I am afraid that something unexpected will happen. Xiao showed a faint smile and said, what Guanghe said is right, let's go now. There are 8 people, me and Guanghe, plus Yu Xing and Mei Su. Then young Master Ning and Brother Lu, this time this young queen finally called him Brother Lu, and did not continue to directly call him by his name. Since the map is in the hands of Brother Lu, then Brother Lu can lead the way. Pei Guanghe said with a smile. No problem. Lu Hongfang directly took the lead and walked out of the room. The rest of the people followed him out, while Ning Cheng followed behind Pei Guanghe. Perhaps it was because of the arrival of Pei Guanghe, or perhaps it was because Ning Cheng and the others wanted to help them explore the ruins, but Xiao did not activate the entrapment array outside. After going out of the range of the yurts, Lu Hongfang sped up, and soon left the yurts and the oasis behind him. Ning Cheng and the others silently followed behind Lu Hongfang, not a single one of them spoke. That young queen called Xiao unexpectedly did not ask for more people to follow her, or perhaps she knew that even if there were more people, searching for the ruins would not be of much use. I do not know how far is the North Ju tribe from here. For the North Ju tribe to come here, did they already know that there is an oasis here? After the 8 people walked for nearly an hour, Ning Cheng took the initiative to break the silence. The young girl Xiao smiled, and did not beat around the bush, and directly said, the North Ju tribe is only known to the people of my North Ju tribe. If young Master Ning wants to go to my North Ju tribe, then you can also join my North Ju tribe. Ning Cheng said unhurriedly, joining the North Ju tribe is not a problem, but I have a matter to ask Queen Xiao. I do not know if your clan has a map to the Hua continent. This time Xiao did not even think for half a moment, and bluntly said, I do not. Shi Pei Shan, who was walking beside Ning Cheng, said, Brother Ning, the map to the Thunder Fall Desert is something that very few people would have. But when walking in the Thunder Fall Desert, there is a rule, and that is that there are often desert whirlpools in the Thunder Fall Desert. These desert whirlpools will often swirl the yellow sand in a certain direction. As long as you walk in that direction, you will be able to walk in it. Many thanks. Ning Cheng thanked Shi Pei Shan, and did not speak anymore. Since they did not agree with each other, it would be useless to say anything more. After an hour passed by, Lu Hongfang stopped. He pointed to a huge sand pit in front of him and said, We're here, it's right here. Ning Cheng had looked at the map once, and already knew how to go to the ruins. According to the marks on the map, when they arrived at the entrance to the ruins, they would see a huge sand pit. At night, when the moonlight shines on the sand pit, there would appear 3 overlapping moon shadows. From these 3 overlapping moon shadows, one would be able to find the entrance to the ruins of the Lani country. There were many sand pits in the desert, but most of the sand pits would be filled with sand and stones after a period of time. Since the map of the ruins did not say that the sand pit would be filled with sand and stones, it showed that the sand pit would not disappear for no reason. Now that there really was a sand pit here, it showed that the map was real. Now before the moonlight appears, there is still about an hour left. I suggest that everyone take a look at the map. Huang Yuanbo suddenly said. The few people from the North Ju tribe had already seen the map, but they simply looked at it, and made this suggestion. Of course. Lu Hongfang took the initiative to hand the map to Huang Yuanbo, and did not even ask for Xiao's opinion. Huang Yuanbo did not refuse, and repeatedly looked at the map several times, and then handed it to Shi Pei Shan. Pei Shan looked at the map several times, and then handed it to Mei Su. Mei Su did not seem to want to give the map to Ning Cheng, and repeatedly looked at it in her hands. It was not until the moonlight rose that she seemed to remember that the map was still in her hands. Mei Su, give the map to Brother Lu. Brother Lu still has to lead the way. Xiao looked at Mei Su with some dissatisfaction. Mei Su seemed to suddenly understand, this map had been in her hands for too long, and quickly handed the map to Lu Hongfang. Lu Hongfang did not care about it, and just pointed to the sand pit where the 3 moon shadows overlapped and said, "I'll go down first, everyone just follow me." Saying that, he directly jumped to the place where the moon shadows overlapped. Lu Hongfang had just jumped to the place where the moon shadows overlapped, when he disappeared, but the place where the moon shadows overlapped was still there, and did not change even half a bit. It was as if Lu Hongfang had jumped into a pond, and had yet to emerge from it. Chapter 79. The Blue Sand City is indeed the capital city of the Lani country. Originally, the Lani country had a huge defensive array formation, but I did not think that after so many years, the sand and stones were still unable to completely bury the Lani country. It can be seen that this huge defensive array formation is still working. Xiao looked at the blue sand city in front of her, and spoke in a faint voice. I think there is indeed something strange about this place. Everyone should be careful of each other. What does Brother Ning think? Pei Guanghe looked at Ning Cheng and spoke. His meaning was very obvious. He did not want everyone to go back and look for Huang Yuan Bo. Dry bones are everywhere in this place. What is there to make a fuss about? Mei Su, the woman who had been slapped twice by Ning Cheng, spoke with disdain. Mei Su took a step forward and disappeared from everyone's sight. Seeing Ning Cheng go in, Pei Shan quickly followed him in. Huang Yuanbo glanced at the bloodstains on the ground, but did not feel surprised, and followed them in. In terms of credibility, Pei Guanghe's words were more reasonable. But Ning Cheng felt that the words spoken by Pei Guanghe were not completely correct. If what Pei Guanghe said was true, then this place should be under the desert. No one came to the desert all year round, so it should be humid and musty. In fact, when he entered, he didn't smell any of these scents at all. There was even a slight breeze blowing past. Originally, the 8 of them were carefully walking on the street, each of them on guard, but when did Huang Yuanbo disappear, none of them knew. It seemed that Pei Shan had ridiculed her, which made her very unhappy, so Mei Su said to the young girl, Xiao, Your Majesty, I will go in and have a look. After a while, they suddenly heard Mei Su's surprised voice, Magic tool, blood. This time, it was Mei Su who screamed. Everyone was attracted by Mei Su's scream. When they looked over, they realized why Mei Su was screaming. A large pool of blood flowed out from the bottom of a tightly shut door. In just a blink of an eye, the 5 people disappeared from Ning Cheng and Pei Shan's eyes, just like drops of water falling into the sea. Dry bones. Pei Shan, who had been walking beside Ning Cheng, suddenly called out. She happened to be stepping on a skull, moreover this skull was very sturdy. How could there be blood in an underground ruin like this? Even if there was, it would have dried up. How could there be such a large amount of water flowing out? Pei Shan smiled, I'm not afraid of death. Since I'm looking for opportunities, I can't be afraid of death. I just think that following Brother Ning would give me a better chance. The vicissitudes of Blue Sand City could not be faked no matter what. This could only be seen through time. Ning Cheng also had some doubts, that the wind that he had felt before was just an illusion. The rest of them did not hesitate and jumped down one after another. Ning Cheng landed on top of the overlapping moon shadows, and immediately felt a huge whirlpool coming towards him. He simply did not need to use any earth-escaping technique, as he was directly taken away by it. When Lu Hongfang heard Mei Su speak about artifacts, he immediately took a step inside. Pei Guanghe, Xiao, and Yuxing immediately followed. Lu Hongfang suddenly punched the tightly closed door. He felt a little oppressive. This kind of method could let his oppressive feeling be immediately blasted out. Isn't it just a little blood? What's the fuss? Shi Pei Shan suddenly said in a sarcastic tone. Apparently because Mei Su had ridiculed her before, she was extremely uncomfortable in her heart. After the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, Lu Hongfang stopped in front of an ancient city gate. Half of the city wall had already collapsed. A few mottled words could be vaguely seen in the light of the clear light stone, Blue Sand City. Her voice had just fallen, when she heard a crash sound. A shop that looked like it was still intact immediately turned into powder. This street seemed to be endless. After an hour, the crowd followed the street and turned a few big corners, but the street still did not have an end. Whether it is true or not, since we are already here, we must go and have a look. Lu Hongfang said, and took the lead to walk along the passage. Since we are already here, why should we shrink back? I'll go in first. Lu Hongfang said, and took the lead to walk through the Blue Sand City's gate. This was definitely a transmission array. Ning Cheng had just thought of this, when he stepped on the ground. This is the ruins of the Lani country. The Blue Sand City is the capital of the Lani country. Lu Hongfang said with a slightly excited tone. At a glance, one could not see the end of the passage, and it was more than 3 or 4 feet wide. On both sides of the passage were walls that could not be seen, and the walls were inlaid with a row of clear light stones that were already somewhat dim. Under their feet was a rugged and winding trail, which extended into the distance. After entering the city gate, a kind of rotten and withered aura hit them in the face, but the few of them were instead relieved. If this was the location of the ruins of the Lani country, then this kind of aura was definitely the aura of the ruins. Pei Guang, he said indifferently, this is not necessarily true. There are some desert faults in the depths of the desert. If the Blue Sand City is separated by these faults, then even if there is no defensive array formation, it would not be covered up by the sand and stones. It really is a very old place. Even a little sound can turn this shop into powder. Pei Guang, he said with a sigh. Ning Cheng was just about to speak, when he heard a burst of rapid footsteps, and then he and Shi Pei Shan saw Huang Yuanbo rushing over. Huang Yuanbo's face was pale, and he looked incomparably flustered. After he saw Ning Cheng and Shi Pei Shan, he seemed to be relieved, and quickly came to the front, as he gasped for breath and said, "That was close. If I did not know a little about array formations, then I certainly would not have been able to come out." The blood that had flowed outside was flowing out from the foot of the wall of the main hall. These bloodstains seemed to have formed into a never-ending stream. Ning Cheng wanted to use his spiritual sense to sweep inside, but found that after his spiritual sense entered the main hall, it immediately disappeared without a trace. Ning Cheng showed a faint smile and said, "Brother Pei's opinion is very good. Of course we will listen to Brother Pei's opinion." His words did not have even half a shred of intention to go back and look for Huang Yuanbo. Huang Yuanbo said with some fear, "I did not dare to step into an array formation, and wandered around inside for a long time, before I finally found the array entrance." "Hey, where are the others?" The damaged materials of the shop were thrown everywhere on the streets, coupled with the falling yellow sand. It made the streets not look empty, but it was not crowded, rather it gave off a kind of strange desolation. This should not be the ruins of a real country. The ruins of a real country should not have such obvious artificial traces. Xiao Xiao's true condensation realm bodyguard Yu Xing was the first to speak. Yu Xing was the second to walk in. The rest of the people did not hesitate, and entered the city gate one after another. Ning Cheng also entered the Blue Sand City's city gate. The few people did not speak again. The entire street was filled with only the sound of their footsteps. Along the way there were countless skeletons, but everyone was already used to it, and no one felt that something was wrong. "You be careful." After Xiao Xiao exhorted, she did not stop Mei Su's actions. The inside of the gate was gloomy. It seemed to have a gloomy and cold aura. After a while, everyone adapted to the light, and could clearly see the situation inside the gate. It was a main hall. The main hall was surrounded by many vague chairs. It seemed to be a place for a meeting. Going further inside, they could not see clearly. Shi Pei Shan did not understand why Ning Qing suddenly asked about Huang Yuanbo. She slightly hesitated and said, Huang Yuanbo is a disciple of the Yuan continent's Blue Flame 4-Star Academy. The reason why we want to pull him into our team is because he has a very good understanding of array formations. Although he does not talk much, but he is a good person. Big sister Shi, why are you not going in? Ning Qing looked at Shi Pei Shan at his side and asked in a puzzled manner. Several people simultaneously landed in a place. Ning Cheng's eyes had already sized up the surroundings. Rather than saying that they were under the desert, it would be better to say that they were in a sealed passage. Squeak, a sound was heard. It seemed that the door was not opened by Lu Hongfang, but rather by him. Originally Lu Hongfang wanted to punch open the door, and then directly pass through it. Now that the door was squeaking, it actually made his heart beat like a drum. Ning Qing suddenly changed the topic and asked, How much do you know about Huang Yuanbo? What the hell is going on? Shi Pei Shan quickly asked. He even suspected that Pei Guang he also understood this point, and his words just a moment ago were somewhat trying to cover it up. Huang Yuanbo has disappeared. Shi Pei Shan, who was at Ning Cheng's side, suddenly exclaimed. Everyone immediately stopped. Only then did they discover that Huang Yuanbo had really disappeared. As the footsteps of the several people stepped on the street, the various strange things that were left on the street all turned into dust. Everyone has entered the main hall, let's also go in. Ning Qing pointed to the dark main hall in front of him and said. Saying that, he took the lead and walked into the main hall. Pei Guang he disapprovingly said, Initially my North Ju country also had a few elders who were not implicated by the catastrophe of the Lani country, and later on a few elders must have come here. Maybe they found the ruins of the Lani country, but because they did not obtain anything else, they opened up this place, so that the later generations could find the Lani country more easily. Otherwise, where did our map come from? Ning Qing frowned. He once again felt that something was wrong. This shop had turned into dust. It was very strange. It was reasonable to say that the smell of decay in this powder was even heavier, but in fact, he was not even aware of this kind of smell of decay. Or rather, the smell of decay was still formed on the street. Chapter 80. After the Ning Qing trio entered the main hall, they immediately saw the 5 people who were already in the main hall. Not only could they see them, but they could also see them very clearly. From the outside of the main hall looked dim. They did not expect that after entering the main hall, they would immediately be able to see the surrounding scene. Brother Huang, you're alright, that's great. Lu Hongfang saw Huang Yuanbo also come in, and happily greeted him. Ning Qing could clearly see, in the innermost part of the main hall, there was an altar table, and on the altar table were 3 artifacts. In the middle was a black ring, on the left was a very ordinary-looking flying sword, and on the right was a knife-shaped artifact. On the left and right sides of the altar table, there was a small door. Why don't you take the artifacts here? Shi Pei Shan looked at the 5 people who came in and asked in a puzzled manner. Ning Qing looked back. After entering the main hall, he could not see anything outside the main hall. You can't take it. A moment ago I took it, and was almost seriously injured. There is an array formation in front of the altar table. Once you approach it, you will immediately be attacked by the array formation. Oh yes, Brother Huang, you came at the right time. You are an array formation master. Can you take a look at how to break this array formation? Lu Hongfang said as he looked at Huang Yuanbo. Huang Yuanbo shook his head. My array formation level is limited, I can't see it. Ning Qing could not see what kind of array formation it was, but he could see that it was not an altar table, but rather an altar. Pei Guang he looked at Ning Qing and smiled and said, Brother Ning, there is a small door on the left and right side of the altar table. Why don't the 8 of us divide into 2 groups and go through the small door? As for the artifacts on the altar table, no one will come in to take them. Ning Qing immediately replied, Of course, I will go through the door on the left. Whoever wants to come in with me can follow me. Saying that, Ning Qing walked towards the small door on the left, and soon disappeared through the door. I'll go with Brother Ning. Huang Yuanbo immediately followed Ning Cheng. Shi Pei Shan and Lu Hongfang, seeing this, also followed. Everyone did not need to say anything. The 8 people were clearly divided into 2 groups. Xiao, this artifact is fake. Pei Guang, he saw the 4 people enter the small door, and immediately said. Xiao nodded. Apparently she already knew that this artifact was fake. How could this be fake? If it's fake, why do you need to use a formation to control it? Mei Su asked in confusion. Pei Guang, he sneered, not only me and King Swan she can see that this artifact is fake, I think that Ning Shaoqing should also be able to see that this artifact is fake. Mei Su froze for a moment and subconsciously said, so that's how it is. Your Majesty, if those 4 people went in first, would they have taken away the good things? This is the ruins of our Lani country. If I do not let them in, then they absolutely will not be able to come in. Mei Su, you can rest assured. Let's go. Xiao calmly said. Pei Guanghe looked at Mei Su with pity. This place required a blood sacrifice to open. If Ning Cheng's group of 4 were to go together, then there would definitely be someone who would need to be used as a blood sacrifice. As for the 4 people on their side, of course, one of them would also need to be used as a blood sacrifice. Needless to say, the person to be sacrificed should be Mei Su. Yu Xing acted as if he didn't know anything and was still closely following Xiao. He was always paying attention to the surroundings. After Ning Cheng's group of 4 entered the small door, they found themselves in front of 6 dark passages. Moreover, no one knew which passage they should go through. Huang Yuanbo pointed to the second passage on the left and said, I know a few array formations. Looking at the layout of the surroundings, we should go through the second passage. Finished speaking, Huang Yuanbo took the lead and walked in. The Ningqing trio did not have any objections, and also followed. Elder brother Ning, I always felt that Xiao was not a good person. She not only detoxified the poison in the 3 of us, but also let us look for these ruins together. Is she really that good? At this moment there were only 4 people left in this dark passage. Shi Pei Shan finally said what she wanted to say. Huang Yuanbo also gave an N sound, and came forward and said, I have had this suspicion for a long time, but I just could not find. Huang Yuanbo had only spoken half of his words, when his hands suddenly emitted a white light. This white light directly chopped towards Ning Cheng's waist. It was as fast as lightning. Almost at the same time, Ning Cheng also blasted out a punch. The strong killing intent of the axe fist went straight towards Huang Yuanbo's legs. This white light and the killing intent of the axe fist immediately filled the entire passage, causing the passage to shake with a rumbling sound. Bang! A muffled sound was heard. Huang Yuanbo's white light directly exploded on Ning Cheng's waist. It was followed by 2 sounds of blood spurting out. Ning Cheng's axe fist had already chopped on Huang Yuanbo's knees. Huang Yuanbo's legs immediately fell from his body. But when the white light fell on Ning Cheng's body, it did not have any effect. Lu Hongfang and Shi Pei Shan stared at Ning Cheng and Huang Yuanbo in shock. They did not understand what was going on. How did you know that I was going to sneak attack you? Huang Yuanbo's face was somewhat distorted as he shouted. You secretly left the team. When we were arranging the array formations on the way back, I already knew who you were going to plot against, but I did not think that you would plot against me. This kind of good person really cannot be. I saved your dog life, but you still want to kill me in return. Ning Cheng said in a cold voice. Huang Yuanbo said with a pale face, I really hate you. I should have sneak attacked your legs. He not only hated that he had sneak attacked the wrong place, but also hated that he should not have been so careless. If not for this Ning Shaoqing sneak attacking his legs, he would have been able to fight with the opposite party. Who knew that this guy also had an artifact armor? If not for this artifact armor, he would have already cut off Ning Shaoqing's waist. Ning Cheng calmly said, You have nothing to hate, because I would only let you sneak attack my waist. The implication was, if he did not let you sneak attack him, then you would not even be able to cut his waist. Huang Yuanbo suddenly stared at Lu Hongfang and Shi Pei Shan and once again said in a stern voice, Lu Hongfang, Shi Pei Shan, the two of you attack him together. As long as the three of us join hands, he absolutely would not be able to get away with it. Do you think that he saved us? He definitely has the desert geocentric spring tea on him, but he did not take it out. Shi Pei Shan frowned. Huang Yuanbo, it is not your first day coming out. Whether or not Brother Ning has the desert geocentric spring tea on him, we are all saved by him. Moreover, now that the poisonous gas from the poisonous sand beast has been removed, why would you still attack Brother Ning? Removed? Ha. Huang Yuanbo laughed miserably. If it was removed, this father would have already left. Why would I wait until now? The poisonous gas was only temporarily suppressed by Pei Guanghe. Can you see if your dantian is not able to flow smoothly? Although Huang Yuanbo's cultivation was the lowest, but he was a person from a 4-star academy, and was very knowledgeable. Shi Pei Shan and Lu Hongfang immediately tried it, and immediately understood that Huang Yuanbo's words were not wrong. Their poison was only temporarily suppressed, but was not removed. Seeing the two people's faces change, Huang Yuanbo cried out in a mournful voice, Ning Shaoqing is not afraid of the poisonous gas from the poisonous sand beast. Would you believe that he did not have the desert geocentric spring tea? Taking a step back, even if he did not have the desert geocentric spring tea on him, he had drunk the desert geocentric spring tea, so his blood can be used to detoxify the poison. Huang Yuanbo's voice was getting smaller and smaller. Lu Hongfang and Shi Pei Shan suddenly turned silent. The two of them looked at Ning Cheng and did not speak. Lu Hongfang was thinking about whether or not to start, but Shi Pei Shan was thinking about why Ning Cheng did not explain anything. Ning Cheng sighed in his heart. If he really had the geocentric spring tea, then he really would not be stingy, but he did not have such a thing. Asking him to use his blood to save these two people, he was not that noble. No one noticed, but Huang Yuanbo's body gradually shriveled up. The blood on his body also slowly seeped into the ground, and disappeared. Boom boom. A burst of roaring sounds suddenly resounded from the side of the passage, and the front of the passage suddenly lit up. Ning Cheng was not interested in continuing to team up with these two people. His figure turned into a shadow and disappeared from the front of the passage. Why did you not start? I think that Ning Shaocheng's cultivation is at most at the qi gathering first level. Lu Hongfang stared at Shi Pei Shan and asked in a deep voice. Shi Pei Shan coldly glanced at Lu Hongfang and said, I really hesitated a moment, but I think that Ning Shaocheng certainly does not have the geocentric spring tea on him. If he had it, he would have already taken it out. But Lu Hongfang had only spoken 2 words, when he was interrupted by Shi Pei Shan, the antidote to the poison. I will find it myself. Let me drink the blood of my savior and live. Shi Pei Shan, am not able to do it. Saying that, she simply ignored Lu Hongfang, and also did not pay any attention to Huang Yuanbo, who had already turned into a skeleton on the ground, and flashed away. Lu Hongfang touched his hair, and muttered a sentence, it really is very difficult to do. Ning Cheng rushed out of the passage, and immediately saw a bloodline. This bloodline was flowing in one direction. Unexpectedly it was not even the slightest bit of consumption. Ning Cheng looked around. This was a very simple array formation. It looked like there were many ways to leave, but this array formation's life gate unexpectedly followed the direction of this bloodline. At this time he did not hesitate for even half a moment, and directly followed the bloodline. After the time it takes for 2 incense sticks to burn, Ning Cheng stopped. In front of him appeared a huge blood pool. This blood pool was flowing in all directions with a variety of bloodlines. Sitting directly above the blood pool was a gray-robed man. He could not see his age, but from the fluctuations coming from his body, he could tell that his cultivation level was definitely not low. Just as Ning Cheng was sizing up this gray-robed man, this gray-robed man suddenly stretched out his finger and shot out a bloodline. This bloodline fell on a distant boulder and slid down. Ning Cheng looked at the boulder. It had already been dyed a dark red. Originally the blood that was flowing out was actually the result of this person's cultivation. Chapter 81. There are indeed a lot of maps, but it was not me who took them out, rather it was this person who took them out. The gray-robed man said as he picked up a skeleton from the blood pool below him. Even if this skeleton was soaked in the blood, it was still completely black, but there was a faint pressure coming from it. It made Ning Cheng immediately know that this skeleton's cultivation level was definitely not low. After the gray-robed man explained to Ning Cheng in a very polite manner, he then said to himself, "You alone are not enough." He had just finished speaking, when a few wind sounds resounded, as several figures fell down. Ning Cheng saw Yu Xing and Pei Guanghe, as well as two other people that Ning Cheng did not know. One of them was already at true condensation 7th level, while the other was at true condensation 3rd level. After the few people arrived, they were just like Ning Cheng, as they looked at the blood pool and the gray-robed man sitting in the middle of the blood pool in amazement. "This is enough," the gray-robed man said, as he threw out dozens of array flags, and said, "Well, no one else will come. Since the few of you are able to come here, then presumably your attainments in array formations are quite good. If your attainments in array formations are good, then you are definitely a smart person. The blood of a smart person is the most suitable for me to advance. Everyone help me advance." As the gray-robed man finished, Ning Cheng suddenly felt a powerful force pulling him up. This force was pulling him into the blood pool. Ning Cheng's reaction was extremely fast. In a flash he understood what was going on. This gray-robed man originally relied on these bloodlines to flow into the blood pool to cultivate. But he did not know why, but he needed a few people to jump into the blood pool to help him cultivate. Understanding that once he entered the blood pool, he would become a raw material for the opposite party's cultivation, Ning Cheng was not willing to enter the blood pool. He did not hesitate to forcibly retreat. He wanted to get rid of this powerful pulling force. Splash! Ning Cheng saw that the true condensation 3rd level cultivator that he did not know had already jumped into the blood pool. After this person jumped into the blood pool only had a few blood bubbles, before it returned to its calm state. The true condensation 7th level cultivator suddenly shouted, "This person does not dare to find a cultivator above the essence building realm. His own cultivation level is definitely not too high. If we fight to the death, then we will have a chance to survive. If at this time we resist, then it would be impossible." Pei Guanghe also said, "This friend is right, let's do it together." While speaking, Pei Guanghe had already taken out a long sword. Yu Xing didn't even say a word as he swung his octagonal hammer. That true condensation 7th level cultivator brought out a square-shaped black seal. This black seal was the one that brought out the greatest power, as it turned into a huge boulder with a radius of half a foot, as it rumbled towards that gray-robed man. Ning Cheng controlled his body, while simultaneously bringing out a red flying sword to kill the gray-robed man. He always had some doubts about Pei Guanghe, so he still maintained vigilance against Pei Guanghe when he fought. The gray-robed man snorted coldly when he saw the four of them attacking him at the same time. He raised his skinny hands and made a grabbing motion in the void. As he made a few grabbing motions, the magic treasures that were attacking him instantly froze. "Old bastard, I'll kill you!" Yu Xing shouted and suddenly threw out another octagonal hammer. At the same time, he quickly retreated. Ning Cheng's heart skipped a beat. He felt that Yu Xing's speed of retreat was simply too fast. He had tried his best, and could only control himself to stay in the same place. How could he retreat so fast? Originally he had thought that there was a problem with that Pei Guanghe, but now it seems that there was a problem with Yu Xing. Ning Cheng did not even think about it, and once again forcibly revolved his true essence, and forcibly pulled open the distance between him and Yu Xing. Yu Xing did not seem to notice that Ning Cheng was pulling open the distance between him and him. He suddenly brought out a white flying sword. The flying sword brought out a curtain of swords, as it rumbled towards the back of that true condensation 7th level cultivator. The true condensation 7th level cultivator was trying his best to control his black seal. How could he think that someone on his side would suddenly attack him? After he understood, he subconsciously moved forward to avoid the sword curtain behind him. But he forgot that in front of him was the blood pool. When he moved aside, the pulling force immediately became stronger. It was not until this time that the true condensation 7th level cultivator reacted. He immediately opened his eyes wide. He knew that it was inevitable for him to fall into the blood pool. This person was very decisive. When he found that he could not escape from the blood pool, he simply flew towards the blood pool, and spat out a mouthful of blood in the air above the blood pool. The black seal that was attacking the gray-robed man suddenly expanded. He wanted to explode his own artifact. Ning Qing immediately came to his senses. He did not hesitate to control the 7 Pleiades ice needle that was quietly attached to the red flying sword. If he did not help at this time, then when would he be able to? The gray-robed cultivator sneered, wanting to explode his own artifact to attack him. He was simply dreaming. He raised his hand, and was about to bring out a shield. But he had not yet brought out his shield, when he felt a thin needle piercing through his body, protecting true essence. Not good, I was sneak attacked. The gray-robed cultivator had just thought of this, when the meridians in his body started to ache. A kind of icy cold chi quickly spread from his meridians to his dantian. It seemed that in just a moment, his dantian would be destroyed. At this time the gray-robed cultivator did not care about the huge seal above his head that was about to explode. The true essence in his body forcibly revolved, and immediately blocked Ning Cheng's 7 Pleiades ice needle. Almost at the same time that Yu Xing's sneak attacked the true condensation 7th level cultivator, the true condensation 7th level cultivator rushed towards the blood pool ready to explode his artifact. Ning Qing used the 7 Pleiades ice needle to attack the gray-robed cultivator, while Pei Guanghe raised his hand and shot out a talisman. Without the influence of the gray-robed cultivator, the talisman wrapped around his body, and in a twinkling of an eye, he disappeared from the surroundings of the blood pool. He had to say that Pei Guanghe's timing was just right, not half a breath more, not half a breath less. If it was given to other people, even if they had this kind of talisman, very few people would be able to grasp the timing like Pei Guanghe. Splash! The true condensation 7th level cultivator was finally unable to control his body, and fell into the blood pool. The blood pool was once again filled with blood bubbles. Bang! A loud explosion sounded, as the black seal suddenly exploded. The formidable explosive force caused the blood in the blood pool to rise into the air like a column of blood. When Ning Qing controlled the 7 Pleiades ice needle to attack the gray-robed cultivator, he once again punched out. This was his one and only killing fist, the axe fist. The killing intent of the great axe formed a line, and directly bombarded Yu Xing's body from the side. Yu Xing had just successfully sneak attacked the true condensation 7th level cultivator, and did not even have the time to take back his flying sword, when he was attacked by Ning Qing. He simply did not have the opportunity to dodge, and was directly hit by the axe fist. A bloody light spurted out from Yu Xing's waist, as Yu Xing staggered towards the direction of the blood pool. Ning Qing immediately followed him, but did not fight back against Yu Xing, and once again blasted out with his fist. Yu Xing's heart was filled with hatred. He did not think that Ning Cheng's reaction would be this fast. Moreover, he even continued to attack him. He did not even attack the gray-robed cultivator. It was not realistic for him to take back his magical weapon to block Ning Cheng's attack. The only way to retreat was through the blood pool. If he did not retreat, then he would be cut in half at the waist. Splash! Yu Xing was the third one to jump into the blood pool. When Yu Xing jumped into the blood pool, Ning Qing really brought out his artifact. The long spear on his back brought out a spear shadow. 22 spear shadows were like 22 icicles, and in a twinkling of an eye formed a profound ice spear net. Ning Qing did not hold back even a little bit of his strength. He was very clear that there was no way for him to leave this place in a hurry. Now that the gray-robed cultivator was seriously injured by the explosion of the true condensation 7th level cultivator's artifact, if he did not seize this opportunity, then he really would be an idiot. The clothes on the gray-robed cultivator's body had already disappeared, revealing a skinny and bony body. There was a huge bloody hole on the left side of his chest. Even half of his face had been blown away by the black seal artifact. Without the cover of his clothes, Ning Qing could clearly see that this gray-robed cultivator did not even have legs. If not for Ning Cheng's 7 Pleiades Ice Needle sneak attack, then even if the true condensation 7th level cultivator's black seal exploded, it would at most cause him to suffer a minor injury. But now, he was not only seriously injured, moreover the 7 Pleiades Ice Needle had not been forced out from his body. If Ning Cheng did not continue to attack, then sooner or later he would have forced out the 7 Pleiades Ice Needle, but Ning Cheng's timing of the attack simply did not allow him to have even half a chance. The gray-robed man had just raised his hand to bring out a round shield, when he immediately stopped. The 7 Pleiades Ice Needle had already brought out the round shield, while the true essence in his body was slightly delayed, but at the same time, it had already exploded on top of his dantian. Being hit by the 7 Pleiades Ice Needle, the gray-robed man's dantian instantly turned into dust. Ning Cheng's 22 profound ice spear shadows completely fell on the gray-robed man's body. Ka-ka, a burst of cracking sounds resounded, the gray-robed man was turned into an icicle by Ning Cheng's 7 Pleiades Ice Needle and the 36 profound ice spear techniques. His whole body was like a piece of broken ice. Before he died, he still could not believe what he had just seen. In his eyes, although Ning Cheng was the first person to arrive here, but Ning Cheng's cultivation level was the lowest, so he did not need to care about him. But in the end, he actually died in the hands of the person with the lowest cultivation level, not because of anything else, but because every time the person with the lowest cultivation level attacked, it was as if he had already calculated everything. Not a single breath more, not a single breath less. Moreover, his most powerful move, unexpectedly, was not the thunderous attack that he had used at the beginning, but at the last moment, he had used it to give him a fatal blow. Hua, the gray-robed man who had turned into broken pieces of ice finally turned into a small pile of ice slag. Ning Cheng felt the pressure around him lighten, as he sat down on the ground weakly. At this moment he was very grateful to that true condensation 7th level cultivator. If not for that person exploding his artifact before he died, then he absolutely would not have been able to kill this gray-robed man. Chapter 82. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Ning Cheng was able to restore most of his true essence with the help of the spirit stones. The red flying sword had already fallen into the blood pool, but Ning Cheng did not intend to retrieve it, and just raised his hand to recall the 7 Pleiades Ice Needle. The gray-clothed man's belongings were hidden somewhere. He didn't have a storage bag or any other storage equipment on him. Ning Cheng did not care about the things on the body of this gray-robed man, a person who relied on blood to cultivate. Even if he had something on him, it was not something that he wanted. It was only now that he had the chance to observe his surroundings. The place he was at had a radius of several hundred square meters, and the surroundings were shrouded by a formation, making it seem vague and hazy. In the middle of this place was the huge blood pool. The blood mist above the pool made it hard to see clearly. His divine sense swept over, but it was immediately blocked by the array formation. Ning Cheng carefully looked at it several times, and confirmed that there was no other way out of this place other than the blood pool. The way in had been sealed by the gray-robed man, unless he also had a talisman like Pei Guanghe, he could use it to leave this place. His only hope of getting out was the blood pool. Otherwise, he could only attack the surrounding array by himself. Not to mention that Ning Cheng could not understand the surrounding array formations. Even if he could understand them, he would not dare to attack them casually. As for the blood pool, Ning Cheng did not want to enter it. This blood pool was bubbling with blood. After a few of the true condensation cultivators fell into it, there was no more movement. Just looking at it made one's scalp tingle. Ning Cheng tested the surface of the blood pool, and after confirming that there was no suction force, he flew over to the platform in the middle of the blood pool where the gray-robed man was sitting. With a wave of his hand, Ning Cheng immediately threw the bone fragments on the platform into the blood pool. Ning Cheng used the long spear in his hand to knock on the platform, causing it to emit a burst of rustling sound. "Is it empty?" Ning Cheng immediately became a little excited in his heart, although he did not care about the things of this gray-robed man, but he did not know how long this gray-robed man had stayed in this place. However, this relic was real. Perhaps all the items in the relic were stored here by the gray-clothed man. Ning Qing did not spend much time before he was able to see the array formation carved on the platform. This was a simple ceiling array formation. Ning Cheng had only thrown out a few array flags, and with a raise of his hand, he was able to lift up a lid from the platform. A long and narrow staircase appeared under Ning Cheng's feet. Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual sense, and after confirming that there were no problems, he stepped onto the staircase, while at the same time once again covering the outside of the staircase. It was unknown where the staircase led to. It was deep and long. Ning Cheng walked for a full half an hour, before he finally saw that there were no more stairs in front of him, but instead there was a sandstone-paved path. Around the small path, there were some illumination stones floating in the air. Ning Cheng walked along the trail for nearly an hour, before he finally saw a stone house without a door. After confirming that there was no danger in this stone house, Ning Cheng finally entered the stone house. In the middle of the stone house sat a white skeleton. It was unknown how many years this skeleton had been there, but it still exuded a powerful pressure. It was even more powerful than the skeleton that the gray-robed man had picked up from the blood pool. On both sides of the stone house, apart from a stone table, there was only a stone shelf. There was nothing on the table or on the shelf. It could be seen that the things here had already been taken away by the people who had come before. As Ning Cheng approached the skeleton, he had some suspicions that this skeleton belonged to the legendary sea-opening realm cultivator. On the ground in front of the skeleton, Ning Cheng saw a row of small characters: "If you want to enter my sect, kowtow 49 times. Not to mention that Ning Cheng had not obtained anything. Even if he had obtained something, he would not kowtow 49 times to an unfamiliar skeleton for no reason. Ning Cheng walked to the foot of the wall, brought out the spear in his hands, and aimed it at the place where the words were written on the skeleton. Boom! The spear hit the ground, splashing up countless gravel. The skeleton suddenly broke apart at the same time, and shot out a dense amount of white bone arrows. Ning Cheng was startled, and immediately punched out with his axe fist. The white bone arrows seemed to be very old, as they were blown away by Ning Cheng's axe fist, and fell in front of Ning Cheng, unexpectedly not injuring Ning Cheng at all. Ning Cheng sighed, and looked at the skeleton, which had already broken apart and fallen to the ground. The ground that was blasted open by his spear, as well as the place where the skeleton had fallen, did not have anything. Ning Cheng was not disappointed. When he came in, he knew that the things here had already been taken away by the people who had come before him. At this time, a sand dragon fell down, and the roof of the stone house cracked open, causing the yellow sand outside the roof to fall down. Ning Cheng was not surprised, rather he was happy. Since there was yellow sand falling down here, it meant that the Thunder Fall desert was above him. As long as he followed the yellow sand upstream, he would eventually reach the desert. A sharp cry came from a distant passage. Ning Cheng immediately recognized that the cry was coming from the voice of the young Queen Xiu Xiu. He did not know if this woman had entered the passage, or if the cry came from somewhere else. If she had entered the passage, then it meant that the array formation that sealed the blood pool had already been opened. But Ning Cheng did not want to go back. This ruin must have been searched countless times. Moreover, when he came in, he felt that the breeze was not right. The inside of the ruins was so strange, he did not have the idea of continuing to explore. It would be better to go up from the yellow sand that had fallen. When Ning Cheng crossed the ground that he had blasted open with his spear, he suddenly felt that something was wrong. He was a Tier 2 array formation master, so he could see that there was a concealment array formation engraved on one of the broken stones. He immediately picked up the broken stone, and with a little effort, an exquisite imperial jade seal appeared in his hands. The imperial jade seal was engraved with 4 words: Lani country. Hua. The yellow sand was falling more and more. Ning Cheng could no longer think about anything else. He threw the imperial jade seal into his storage bag, grabbed his spear and instantly rushed into the yellow sand. Under the operation of his true essence, Ning Cheng moved upstream in the yellow sand. 1 hour, 2 hours, half a day passed by. Ning Cheng was still moving upstream in the yellow sand. Ning Cheng felt as if he was at the lowest point of the sand, and was still far away from the top. Fortunately, Ning Cheng was already a true condensation cultivator, and was able to breathe internally, otherwise he would have been suffocated to death. After half a day, he stopped, and began to rest and restore his true essence. After another half a day, Ning Cheng felt that the place where the spear was in contact with had loosened, and the next moment the pressure on his head had also loosened. Bursts of yellow sand rolled over. Ning Cheng gave a long sigh. He finally arrived at the top of the desert. Ning Cheng did not stay here for even half a breath. He immediately found a direction and quickly left the place. He wanted to leave the vicinity first, and then find a safe place to clean himself up, and then restore his true essence. An hour later, Ning Cheng found a withered poplar tree on the periphery. He decided to rest here. Before deciding to rest here, Ning Cheng swept out with his spiritual consciousness. At this time his spiritual sense could already see a range of more than 10 miles around him. A cultivator with disheveled hair vaguely appeared in the range of Ning Cheng's spiritual sense. This cultivator was staggering. It was obvious that he did not have enough strength. This was a female cultivator. Looking at her appearance, it seemed that she was running away from the desert. Luofei? Ning Cheng almost instantly recognized this female cultivator. It turned out to be Ji Luofei. Wasn't Ji Luofei in the Hua Continent's Falling Star Academy? How could she appear in the Thunder Fall Desert? Ning Cheng almost did not think, and immediately rushed forward. In just a dozen breaths, Ning Cheng had already arrived in front of Ji Luofei. Ji Luofei saw a shadow rushing towards her, and almost subconsciously raised the flying sword in her hands and chopped it towards Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng simply raised his hand, causing Ji Luofei's flying sword to directly deviate. Not waiting for Ji Luofei to make her next move, Ning Cheng had already grabbed Ji Luofei's wrist. Luofei, what the hell is going on? It's me, Ning Cheng. Is she dead? Ji Luofei's gaze swept over Ning Cheng's face, and the crazed expression in her eyes immediately calmed down, and then she fainted into Ning Cheng's arms. Ning Cheng took out the water from the spiritual essence spring, and fed it to Ji Luofei. He still had some pills in his storage bag. These pills were his spoils of war, but he did not know if these pills could be used or not, so he did not take them out. Ji Luofei was just exhausted. As long as she rested for a while, she should be able to wake up. Ning Cheng looked for a belt, and put Ji Luofei on his back. He decided to change to another place and wait for Ji Luofei to fully recover. Ji Luofei was obviously in the Falling Star Academy, but now she was running alone in the desert. Something must have happened to her. If she had not met him in time, then as long as she casually cast a desert whirlpool, it would be enough to swallow her up. Ning Cheng once again changed direction, and at the same time sped up. Under the agitation of his true essence, some of the heat emanated out, causing Ji Luofei to wake up. Ji Luofei opened her eyes, and when she saw that she was on the back of a male cultivator, she immediately pulled out her flying sword from her waist. However, she immediately discovered that her flying sword was not on her body, and at the same time, she remembered the familiar face that she had seen before she fainted. Ning Cheng. Ji Luofei's trembling hand reached out and gently stroked the back of Ning Cheng's neck, as she spoke in a trembling voice, "Are we finally dead?" Ning Cheng felt Ji Luofei's incomparably gentle palm caressing him, and was just about to speak, when he heard Ji Luofei continue to speak in a trembling voice, "I'm sorry, Ning Cheng. You asked me to help you take revenge, but I can't help you take revenge. You are my only relative. Even if I die with you, I am still very happy." Ji Luofei's ears once again rang with Ning Cheng's words. "Don't be nervous, come with me, just listen to me. Luofei, you already know my qualifications. After you leave, just remember to take revenge for me." In her life, no one had ever been so kind to her. Even if Ning Cheng had bullied her for more than a decade, he had only been kind to her for a day, but she still could not forget it. Ning Cheng was the only person who had used his own life to save her, so when she did not want to leave Ning Cheng, she had no other choice. Unfortunately, before she died, she could not help Ning Cheng fulfill his wish, to take revenge for Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng suddenly felt a bit sour on the tip of his nose. He really did not do anything to Ji Luofei. Before he came out of the prison, he had even bullied Ji Luofei for many years. This woman still regarded him as her only relative. Compared to Ji Luofei's actions, Ning Cheng suddenly felt very ashamed. On the surface, Ji Luofei did not do anything to him, but secretly went to the fighting pot and risked her life to win that chi-gathering stone, just so that he could cultivate. Chapter 83. Ning Cheng saw that Ji Luofei did not seem to have heard his words, and quickly asked again, "Luofei, what the hell happened? I remember that when you left the Tsangqin province, you were already at the chi-gathering 4th level, right? Why was he still at the chi-gathering 5th level? You even came to the Thunder Fall Desert." He had thought of countless possibilities, but he had never imagined that he would not even have the time to activate his Thunderfire talisman. His long hook-type artifact was not able to block the profound ice spear shadows for even a moment. It was not even able to transform out, before it was taken away by the other party. "Luofei, are these people chasing you?" Ning Cheng stared at the 4 cultivators in front of him and asked. Among these 4 people, 2 of them were at True Condensation 1st level, 1 was at True Condensation 2nd level, and the last one was at Chi Gathering 9th level. "Ning Cheng, we." Ji Luofei on Ning Cheng's back called out in a trembling voice. She felt that something was wrong. What was going on? Did he not die? If he did not die, then how could he meet Ning Cheng here? How could Ning Cheng kill 4 such terrifying opponents in a single breath? Ning Cheng was just about to speak, when he found that he unexpectedly met people again. This time it was not 1 person, but 4 people. Initially, when she had carried Ning Cheng back, she had thought that Ning Cheng had already died. Later, when Ning Cheng came back to life on her back, she did not feel even half a shred of surprise. For her, Ning Cheng's life or death really had nothing to do with her. As long as Ning Cheng was alive, she would take care of him, but if Ning Cheng died, she would bury him. The other 3 people simply did not need this True Condensation 2nd level cultivator to speak, as they had already blocked Ning Cheng's path. One of the True Condensation 1st level cultivator leapt high into the air, and raised his hand to grab Ning Cheng's head. Puff, the True Condensation 1st level cultivator who had carelessly leapt over Ning Cheng's head, simply did not have even half a shred of resistance, and was directly torn into pieces by the profound ice spear shadows. Ah! Ji Luofei did not seem to understand, and for a moment forgot to answer Ning Cheng's words. She had just been chased by these 4 people, so how could she come back? Ji Luofei still did not speak. How could she not know that returning to the Thunder Fall Desert was a dead end? But where was she going? She was just a cultivator at the Chi Gathering 5th level. Where could she go? Even if she were to leave the Falling Star Academy and change to another place, she would only be able to live for a few more years. With more than 20 spear shadows, Ning Cheng only used them to deal with the 2 True Condensation 1st level cultivators. As for the Chi Gathering 9th level cultivator, Ning Cheng did not even use a single profound ice spear shadow to deal with him. He just blasted out a punch. "Ah, the fish that slipped through the net has returned, and there's one more." A hoarse voice exclaimed in surprise. Bang! In front of Ning Cheng's axe fist, the chi shield that the cultivator at the Chi Gathering 9th level had condensed was like a piece of paper, and was instantly torn apart. Ning Cheng's axe fist without any reservation exploded on the body of the cultivator at the Chi Gathering 9th level. Blood splashed everywhere. The cultivator was blown a few dozen feet away. When he fell to the ground, he was already a corpse. This True Condensation 2nd level cultivator was always on guard. When Ning Cheng made his move, he immediately brought out the half-moon long hook in his hands. Ji Luofei simply did not hear what Ning Cheng said, as she subconsciously wrapped her hands around Ning Cheng's neck, and unexpectedly burst into tears. She was not happy that she did not die, but she was happy that Ning Cheng did not die. "That day when I carried you back, I did not care about your life and death. I am sorry, Grandpa Ning, I am sorry." Ji Luofei's voice was very small, it seemed that she was still blaming herself. Ning Qing sighed, and did not continue to talk about this. He just asked, Luofei, do you know that in the Thunder Fall Desert, even if it was a cultivator at the essence building realm, without a clear route, they would still fall in this place? You are only at the Qi Gathering 5th level. Once you return to the Thunder Fall Desert, I really do not know what to say to you. She understood the meaning of Ning Cheng's words, but Ning Qing did not understand what she meant. Even if an Yi was by his side, her cultivation speed would still be much faster than Ji Luofei's. The Qi Gathering 9th level cultivator's reaction was also very fast, but the killing intent of the axe fist directly wrapped around him. Even if his reaction was fast, in front of such strength, it was just like floating clouds. Although a level 3 Thunder Fire Talisman was incomparably precious, but compared to his life, and in his eyes, the profound Grade Spear technique, this Thunder Fire Talisman was nothing. Ji Luofei subconsciously pinched him. She had forgotten that her hand was still on the back of Ning Cheng's neck. Ning Qing felt a burst of pain, and immediately said with a bitter face, Luofei, you pinched me. But after that day, she kept thinking about Ning Cheng's shadow in her mind. He was the only person who was willing to die for her, and was even her fiancé. Looking for her parents was a long and uncertain journey. But Ning Cheng was in the Changqing province. Moreover, she knew that once she left, Ning Cheng's chances of survival would be very slim. Ning Qing knew that the reason why the other party said those words was because he had seen his 36 profound ice spear technique, and even recognized it as a profound grade spear technique. He estimated that he was not his opponent, so he was terrified. The distant true condensation second level cultivator had already reacted. At this time he was holding a half-moon long hook magic weapon that was glowing with a blue light as he stared at Ning Qing. Ning Qing once again looked back at Ji Luofei and smiled. Luofei, you did not feel sorry for me. If not for you, perhaps I would have already died. Originally he wanted to use the half-moon hook magic weapon to block Ning Cheng's profound ice spear light, and then activate the level 3 Thunder Fire Talisman in his hands. In his view, even if his Thunder Fire Talisman could not kill Ning Cheng, it would at least seriously injure Ning Cheng. Ji Luofei did not answer. Ning Qing also knew that Ji Luofei was being chased by these people. The long spear in his hands brought out a spear light, which completely enveloped the three people. Ning Qing raised his hand and put away the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin. He was secretly shocked in his heart. This copper coin was simply too terrifying. He had only refined a single layer of the restrictions, and it was already this terrifying. Once he refined all the restrictions, wouldn't it mean that as long as it was a magic weapon of the 5 elements, he would be able to kill it? Fortunately, he still had the 7 Pleiades ice needle, otherwise he would have already died under the hands of this 5 elements treasure fall copper coin. Ji Luofei just hugged Ning Qing tightly, and did not answer Ning Cheng's words. Ning Qing was helpless. He could only pick up the things of the cultivators that he had killed, carry Ji Luofei on his back and quickly leave. No one knew what was in her mind, and she would not tell anyone. Ning Qing patted Ji Luofei's back and said, "You should be happy to be alive, don't cry." Luofei's qualifications were not bad. Previously in the Changqing province, there were simply no cultivation resources, but Luofei was able to cultivate to the peak of the Qi Gathering 3rd level. It was reasonable to say that her aunt Ji Yao he had brought her to the Hua continent's 5-star academy, with a variety of cultivation resources and guidance from a famous teacher. She should have already broken through to the late stages of the Qi Gathering realm. After a long time, Ji Luofei finally spoke from behind Ning Cheng. "I'm sorry, Ning Cheng." Holding a talisman in his hand that was only half activated, this true condensation 2nd level cultivator could not believe that he had died so quickly. Ning Qing scratched his head in shame and said, "Luofei, you must not think like that. In case you meet a bad person in the future, they will pretend to be good to you. If you think like that, then you will definitely be fooled." Ning Qing knew that if Ji Luofei had not promptly carried him back from the entrance of the prison, then it would have been really hard to predict what would have happened to him. If not for the 5 elements treasure fall copper coin, he believed that he would not have been afraid of this true condensation 2nd level cultivator. But with the help of this magical weapon like this copper coin, things had become too simple. But this long hook had just been brought out, and had not even had the time to turn into a defensive line, when it was taken away by a huge copper coin. This true condensation second-level cultivator could only helplessly watch as the profound ice spear shadows completely submerged into his body. Ning Qing looked back at Ji Luofei and smiled. Luofei, I do not know how you came to the Thunder Fall Desert from the Hua continent, but you do not have to worry about it. We are all alive and well, we did not die. Ning Qing was silent for a moment and then said, Luofei, you do not have to blame yourself, I was very fierce to you before, so it is normal that you did not care about me. Ning Qing did not even have the interest to speak, as the 22 profound ice spear shadows once again swept out, the vast expanse of white profound ice spear shadows once again formed into a huge profound ice spear net, and directly sealed the true condensation second-level cultivator. But in his heart he felt a bit strange. In his original memory, Ji Luofei had never cried because of anything. This was the first time that he had seen Ji Luofei cry. Ji Luofei was silent. After a long time she spoke in a low voice, I am not a fool. That true condensation second-level cultivator did not move, and just spoke to the other 3 people, kill the man, but leave the woman. We have been in this desert for more than half a year, it is already so dull that it is like a bird. Just a moment ago I accidentally killed the 2 of them, although this one is ugly, but her figure is still good. This stretch of yellow sand instantly turned into a layer of ice, as more than 20 profound ice spear shadows instantly formed into a huge spear net, as it wrapped around the 3 cultivators who had just arrived. He is not a cultivator at the Qi Gathering 7th level. Another cultivator at the true condensation first level had just spoken a few words. When more than a dozen profound ice spear shadows wrapped around him, he only had enough time to bring out his ring blade type artifact. He was not even able to stimulate it, and was swept away by more than a dozen profound ice spear shadows. More than 10 blood arrows sprayed out, and in an instant formed more than 10 icicles. She wanted to go to the Tsangqin province to look for Ning Cheng. It was a wish that she had after leaving the Ping continent on the airship. In case she managed to cross the Thunder Fall Desert, she would even have the opportunity to return to the Tsangqin province. In case she died in the Thunder Fall Desert, at least she would be a bit closer to the Tsangqin province. I did not think that you would actually be a true condensation cultivator. Since you are a true condensation cultivator, then even if these misunderstandings occurred, then let it go. From now on we will not have anything to do with each other. When this true condensation second-level cultivator spoke, his eyes were staring at Ning Cheng, while he slowly retreated. No. Ji Luofei immediately denied Ning Cheng's words. I later came to know that you are the best to me. Since my grandfather passed away, there has never been anyone who was as good to me as you are to me. If it was before Ning Cheng took her out of the Tsangqin 2-star academy, and she did not know that Ning Cheng was this good to her, then she would have tried her best to find cultivation resources to continue cultivating, and then go look for her parents. Chapter 84. Seeing Ji Luofei not speak, Ning Cheng also did not continue to ask her. He was thinking about Ji Luofei's words. Ji Luofei said that since her grandfather passed away, no one had been so good to her. But thinking about it, he did not think that he had been good to her. If there was one thing that might have moved Ji Luofei, then it was at the back of the Tsangqin 2-star academy, when they were stopped by 2 late-stage Qi gathering cultivators, and he had asked Ji Luofei to go first. If that was the case, then it was really too shameful. At that time it was obvious that if the 2 of them did not go, then they would have died. He had asked Ji Luofei to go first, but it turned out that even if Ji Luofei went first, he would not have been able to stop the 2 late-stage Qi gathering cultivators for even half a minute. Luofei, if you are talking about that day when we escaped, in fact, even if I did not do that, I estimate that if your aunt did not come, then we would have died. With my strength, there is really no way to stop those 2 people and let you go, not to mention that you did not want to go. After Ning Cheng thought about it, he simply said, Star-shaped poplar tree. Not waiting for Ji Luofei to answer, Ning Cheng was pleasantly surprised and stopped. This star-shaped poplar tree was the 6th desert mark on the map that he had given to Tai Shu Shi. Following the largest corner of the star-shaped poplar tree would be the correct direction. Moreover, if he walked straight for about 3 days, he would see a small desert oasis. "We will rest here," Ning Cheng said as he put down Ji Luofei. Finding the new mark on the map, Ning Cheng was really relieved. He knew that as long as they followed the correct route, the danger would be minimal. In a short time, Ning Cheng had set up a simple tent. "Luofei, you go inside the tent and rest, I will look around and also rest." Ji Luofei was just exhausted, and did not suffer any serious injuries. Ji Luofei looked at Ning Cheng for a while, until Ning Cheng touched his face with his hand. She said a baffling sentence, "I will not go." Looking at Ji Luofei enter the tent, Ning Cheng helplessly shook his head. He also washed himself and changed his clothes. Then he began to arrange an array formation around the tent. When Ning Cheng finished arranging the array formation, Ji Luofei came out of the tent. Her face was still the same as before, with a few extremely ugly knife scars, but Ning Cheng felt that this Ji Luofei was completely different from before. Her clothes were still the same set of clothes, but she had used the clear water method to wash it, and even her hair had been rearranged by her, and was tied into a beautiful bun. Ning Cheng only knew that this bun was very good looking, but he did not know what kind of bun it was. She tied a knot on her torn dress, which matched her slender waist, making her look even more pure and beautiful. It was obvious that Ji Luofei, under the limited conditions, had dressed herself up. In Ning Cheng's current and past memories, Ji Luofei seemed to have never deliberately dressed herself up. He did not expect that when she dressed up like this, it would unexpectedly give Ning Cheng a kind of indescribable liking. The most obvious change was not the change in her clothes and hairstyle, but the fact that she seemed to be different from before. It was hard to tell what exactly had changed. If he had to describe it, it was like a pool of stagnant water in the past, but now it was a flowing spring. "Luofei, you should have dressed up like this a long time ago. I think it looks very beautiful." Ning Cheng praised her from the bottom of his heart. Ji Luofei seemed to be secretly relieved, as her face turned slightly red, and whispered, "Ning Cheng, you also come in." "Okay, I also have something to ask you." Ning Cheng quickly followed Ji Luofei into the tent. "I also lost my package, and do not have any other clothes." As if to explain why she was still wearing this set of clothes, after Ji Luofei entered the tent, she added another sentence. "Your aunt is a cultivator in the essence building realm, why didn't she give you a storage bag? Even if she did not have a storage bag, shouldn't she at least have a storage bag?" Ning Cheng frowned and said. Ji Luofei spoke in a gentle tone, "The things that my aunt gave me, I left them to my aunt." "Why? Did your aunt not know that you came to the Thunder Fall Desert?" Ning Cheng blurted out. Ji Luofei was silent, and did not answer Ning Cheng's question. Ning Cheng instantly understood what was going on. Ji Luofei and her aunt definitely had some unpleasantness between them, as such it was better not to ask about it. Originally Ning Cheng was still considering whether or not he should tell Ji Luofei about Xiong Qihua's matter, but now that he saw that Ji Luofei and her aunt had some unpleasantness between them, he immediately decided not to speak about this matter. He did not want to hurt Ji Luofei's heart again. "Sit down." Ning Cheng took out 2 chairs and placed them on the ground. After Ji Luofei sat down, the two of them once again fell into silence. Ji Luofei was not good with words, and simply did not know what to say. Ning Cheng actually wanted to ask Ji Luofei why she left the Hua continent, but thinking that he had asked her a few times before, Ji Luofei did not answer. He guessed that it was something sad, and did not know how to speak about it. "Ning Cheng, how did your cultivation become so high?" Ji Luofei finally broke the silence. Ning Cheng did not hide anything, and told her about how he escaped from the Tsanglu city, how he met an Yi, and how he came to the Mingot city. He also told her about some of the things that happened, and then found a spiritual essence spring in the Dawn Forest, which also allowed his cultivation to improve a lot. In addition to the matters of the mysterious yellow bead and Ji Luofei's mother, Ning Qing also told her everything. He believed that Ji Luofei would not casually speak about his matters, moreover there were a lot of things that An Yi also knew. In Ning Cheng's heart, Ji Luofei was much closer than An Yi, since An Yi already knew about it, he did not need to hide it from Ji Luofei. After all, Ji Luofei and Ji Luofei were still engaged in a fiancé relationship, at least until now it had not been dissolved. Ji Luofei was obviously affected by Ning Cheng's thrilling experience, her hands were tightly grasping his hand for a moment, and then loosening it for a moment. It was not until Ning Cheng said that he came out from the ruins of the Lani country, and then met her again, that she finally felt relieved. Hearing that Ning Cheng had obtained hundreds of spirit stones, her heart started to pound. Even in the Hua continent, her aunt had only given her a few dozen spirit stones at most. These spirit stones, she had returned all of them to her aunt. Later when she heard that Ning Cheng had obtained tens of thousands of spirit stones, she almost became numb. As Ning Cheng finished speaking, he remembered that he had obtained the Imperial Jade Seal, but he did not intend to take it out now. This was not a safe place, in case the Imperial Jade Seal's aura leaked out, then he would only be asking for trouble. Ning Cheng took out a storage bag. The storage bag originally had 1,000 spirit stones inside. Ning Cheng also took out a flying sword and a few sets of clothes and put them into the storage bag. Luofei, this is for you. The clothes are only for me, wait until we reach the Hua continent, then you can buy some of the clothes that you need. Ning Cheng handed the storage bag to Ji Luofei. He was worried that Ji Luofei would not even want her aunt's storage bag, and would also not want his. Contrary to Ning Cheng's expectations, Ji Luofei did not hesitate for even half a moment as she took the storage bag from Ning Cheng, and then tied the storage bag to her waist, without even saying a word of thanks. Ning Cheng breathed a sigh of relief, he really did have several of these storage bags. Ji Luofei's cultivation was poor. In addition to the lack of cultivation resources, it was definitely because of the cultivation method. Luofei, do you know what your spiritual roots are? Ning Cheng also had a water attribute profound grade cultivation method and an earth attribute profound grade cultivation method. If Ji Luofei's spiritual roots were not water or earth, then he would have to help her take a look. I have a water and fire dual spiritual root, my main spiritual root leans towards water. When Ji Luofei heard Ning Cheng ask about her spiritual roots, she immediately thought of Ning Cheng's spiritual roots. Ning Cheng's spiritual roots were so poor, even if he obtained a lot of opportunities, wouldn't it be impossible for him to cultivate this fast? Ning Cheng clapped his hands, and laughed and said, "Great, I just happen to have a profound grade water attribute cultivation method. You do not need to cultivate your original cultivation method, you can cultivate a water attribute cultivation method." Saying that, Ning Cheng took out a jade strip and handed it to Ji Luofei. It doesn't matter if you don't understand the contents of this jade strip, I will teach you slowly in the beginning, and you will be able to understand it later. Ji Luofei was the same as Ning Cheng, she did not know much about the preciousness of a profound grade cultivation method, she only knew that this cultivation method should be much better than the one she had cultivated before. Luofei, you have 1,000 low-grade spirit stones in your storage bag, you can use these spirit stones to cultivate. With your qualifications, you will definitely be able to advance to the true condensation realm. Hearing Ning Cheng say that he already had 1,000 spirit stones in his storage bag, Ji Luofei was so shocked that she stood up. Only the core students of the Falling Star Academy, as well as some of the cultivators above the true condensation realm, would have a net worth of hundreds or even thousands of spirit stones. For someone like her with a dual spiritual root, although she had some treatment in the Falling Star Academy, but in comparison, it was a lot worse. Moreover, she also needed to work hard and complete some tasks in order to obtain them. She had just arrived at the Falling Star Academy not too long ago, and had already left, as such she did not have the opportunity to complete any tasks. Ning Cheng, my qualifications are better than yours, you can keep these spirit stones for your own use. Ji Luofei quickly wanted to leave the spirit stones for Ning Cheng. She was completely unclear. That profound grade water attribute cultivation method was much more precious than 1,000 spirit stones. Ning Qing patted his storage bag and said, I still have a few thousand spirit stones, you do not have to worry about it. Now, why did you come to the Thunder Fall Desert alone? Seeing Ji Luofei calm down, Ning Qing knew that at this time, she should be able to answer his questions. Ji Luofei lowered her head, and said in a somewhat lost tone, my aunt insisted that I marry into one of the 7 major clans of the Hua continent, the Shui clan, but I did not agree to it. I wanted to go back to the Changqing province to see you, so I entered the Thunder Fall Desert alone. This meddlesome woman! Ning Qing angrily shouted. Chapter 85. What is a gossipy old woman? Ji Luofei, on hearing Ning Qing call her aunt a gossipy old woman, did not understand for a moment, and asked a question. Ning Qing chuckled, and quickly changed the topic. Let's not talk about your aunt's matter. I heard that the Hua continent is going to establish a 6-star academy. Is it going to be a competition between the 5 5-star academies? Do you know about this? Ji Luofei nodded and said, yes, there is indeed such a thing. This tournament is not only about the overall strength of the 5 5-star academies of the Hua continent, but it is also about the potential strength of the 5 5-star academies. The true deciding factor was one's potential strength. For this potential strength, each of the 5-star academies will select a portion of the true condensation disciples, and then carry out a comprehensive competition. Would those with good results be selected to go to an intermediate class continent? Ning Qing quickly asked again. This was what he really wanted to ask. He had the Clear Sky 5-star Academy's admission jade card. If he could enter the 5-star Academy, then he believed that even if he had to face a late-stage true condensation cultivator, he would still have the power to fight. Wasn't the tournament about comparing the strong and the weak? If his strength was good, then he would be able to get a place in the tournament of the 5-star academies, and be sent to an intermediate class continent. That would be a fortunate thing. Ning Qing had long understood that if one wanted to cultivate to a higher realm, then staying in a lower class continent was simply not possible. Only by going to an intermediate class continent or a high class continent, would one be able to find the opportunity to cultivate to a higher realm. I am not very clear about this. I did not stay in the Falling Star Academy for a long time. Most of my time was spent in other places and in the Thunder Fall Desert. I only heard that the rewards for the top few are very generous. As for the others, Ji Luofei's words were interrupted by Ning Qing. Luofei, you are only at Qi Gathering 5th level. How can you walk in the Thunder Fall Desert for such a long time? And he even came here. Ji Luofei's eyes showed a trace of sadness. I met a good person at the edge of the Thunder Fall Desert. They were also forced by their enemies to go to the Yuan continent. I followed them. They seemed to have a relatively safe route. We walked in the desert for a month or two without encountering any major dangers. But 3 days ago, we encountered a sandstorm. When Ning Qing heard this, he immediately knew that it was not good. The reason why he had deviated from his original direction was because he had encountered a yellow dragon that had been swept up by sand and stones. At the same time, he sighed in his heart. This kind of family migration was everywhere. Once he offended a powerful opponent, if he couldn't find a way to hide in time, he could only pass through the danger zone and go to another continent. Didn't the Ning family and the Ji family come to be like this? That sandstorm was extremely terrifying. We were all separated. I followed a few people and deviated from our original direction. Later on, we met a few cultivators who were robbing us. They were the 4 you killed before. After a few of us were stopped, we scattered and ran away. Perhaps it was because my face was disfigured and my cultivation was low, and they didn't have enough manpower, so I actually managed to escape. I frantically ran in the same direction. I always felt that this was the direction I should be heading in. Then, I really met you. Ji Luofei's tone was very gloomy. It was obvious that she was worried about that good family. Ning Qing did not know how to comfort Ji Luofei, so he once again changed the topic and asked, Luo Fei, I want to ask you about a person. In the Falling Star Academy, is there a person called Meng Yujing? Regarding Ji Luofei being acquainted with Meng Yujing, Ning Qing did not have much hope. There were so many people in the Falling Star Academy, moreover Ji Luofei had not been to the Falling Star Academy for a long time, so it was normal that she did not know Meng Yujing. Ji Luofei looked at Ning Qing in doubt and replied, how do you know her? Meng Yujing was the most beautiful girl in the Falling Star Academy, moreover she was also one of the top 10 core disciples. He had the cultivation of true condensation 7th level, and was also the disciple of one of the Academy's 3 profound core deans. I saw it once from afar. Didn't I tell you before that I met Ko Hong in the Dawn Forest? He asked me to bring something to Meng Yujing. The fact is that I do not know Meng Yujing. Ning Qing explained. This was the first time that the two of them had spoken so many words together. It was also the first time that Ning Qing was able to understand Ji Luofei's heart. This was a truly kind and grateful woman. Ning Qing and Ji Luofei rested here for a day before packing up their things and leaving. Since Ji Luofei found Ning Qing, it was obvious that she wanted to follow Ning Qing back to the Hua continent. As for the matter regarding her parents, she decided to wait until her cultivation was high enough, and then go to the Dawn Forest to look for them. Along the way, Ning Qing constantly taught Ji Luofei new cultivation methods. Ji Luofei was already at Qi gathering 5th level, as such she only needed to cultivate her spiritual sense. Coupled with the many spirit stones that Ning Qing gave her, as well as the pointers that he did not conceal, Ji Luofei progressed very quickly. 3 days later, when Ning Qing and Ji Luofei arrived at the oasis, Ji Luofei was already able to release some of her spiritual sense. Ning Qing remembered that the oasis on the map was originally a small lake, and the small lake was surrounded by a circle of jujube trees and red willows. But when Ning Qing finally arrived here, he found that the jujube trees and red willows had already disappeared. The small lake also had a huge bathtub-sized sandpit. What's wrong? Ji Luofei saw Ning Qing stop and did not move forward, and asked in a puzzled manner. Ning Qing pointed to the sandpit in front of him and said, I remember on the map that I obtained, this oasis has existed for countless years, and has never dried up. How come it dried up when I came here? Ji Luofei did not have the time to answer, when a rich spiritual qi emerged from the bottom of the huge sandpit. Spiritual qi. Ji Luofei simultaneously discovered this rich spiritual qi, and looked at Ning Qing with a surprised expression. Ning Qing stared at the increasingly rich spiritual qi in the sandpit, and was ready to enter the sandpit to have a look. With such a rich spiritual qi here, there must be something good inside the sandpit. There seems to be very few people on this route, otherwise if there were any good things here, perhaps they would have already taken them away. Ji Luofei certainly understood that there should be something good at the bottom of the sandpit with such a rich spiritual qi. Ning Qing on hearing Ji Luofei's words stopped in his tracks, and asked, Luofei, did you say that the family that brought you into the Thunder Fall Desert also has a map to pass through the Thunder Fall Desert? Ji Luofei gave an N sound and spoke, yes, we walked for a month or two, and did not encounter any danger, so they should have a map. It does not seem to be the road that we are currently taking. Ning Qing frowned, although the Thunder Fall Desert was extremely dangerous, but for countless years, the number of low-leveled cultivators who had passed through the Thunder Fall Desert was not small. Moreover, these low-leveled cultivators obviously did not take the same route. Since it was the same, and the same safe route, there must have been people who had come out. This was an oasis, which meant that there were definitely people who knew about it. Since there were other people who knew about it, then why did they wait for so many years, and when he passed through this place, the spiritual qi was still so rich? Could it be that the good things were just waiting for him to take them away? There were simply too many mysterious things in the desert. If one's strength was not enough, then it would be better to just forget about it. Just like that mysterious North Jew tribe, Ning Qing still did not know the exact location of that tribe. Luofei, let's go. Ning Qing gave up on the idea of jumping into the sandpit to look for treasures, as he took Ji Luofei and bypassed the sandpit, and was about to leave. At this time, a large area around the sandpit suddenly collapsed. Even the place where Ning Cheng was standing also began to collapse, as two incomparably dark and shriveled palms grabbed towards Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei's back. Ning Cheng immediately knew that this was not good. Almost at the same time as the two dark and shriveled palms grabbed towards him, he immediately grabbed Ji Luofei and threw her out of the sandpit, while simultaneously shouting, "Luofei, quickly leave." Saying that, he immediately shot out with his spear-type artifact. This spear-type artifact was shot out with almost all of his strength, without even half a shred of reservation. Boom! The spear exploded on the palm of the dark and shriveled palms, causing the dark and shriveled palms to stagnate, causing Ning Cheng to spit out a mouthful of blood, as he borrowed the force to fly out. But Ning Cheng had just borrowed the force to fly out, when the shriveled palms that were originally trying to grab Ji Luofei also came to grab him. A formidable force pulled Ning Cheng towards the dark and shriveled palms. How could Ning Cheng not know that once he fell into this palm, he would not be able to survive? At this time, he did not have even half a thought, and directly threw all of his low-leveled artifacts, other than the spear, towards this palm. Then, learning the method of that true condensation 7th level cultivator, he stimulated all of his true essence, while simultaneously crazily burning his essence blood. Boom boom boom. A series of explosions resounded, as the few low-leveled artifacts that Ning Cheng threw at the dark and shriveled palms were blown back. Ning Cheng continuously spat out a few mouthfuls of blood in the air, although he had temporarily escaped from this palm, but he still fell into the huge sandpit. In order to blow up his artifacts, at this time he did not even have half a shred of strength to return to the outside of the sandpit. The moment Ji Luofei was thrown away by Ning Cheng, she knew that something bad had happened. She saw a huge sandpit appear, and a black and shriveled palms were trying to grab Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was about to fall into the sandpit. She did not even think about it, and immediately rushed towards Ning Cheng. She swore in her heart that she would never let such a thing happen again. Since Ning Cheng fell into the sandpit, she must save him. If she could not save Ning Cheng, then she might as well fall into the sandpit together with Ning Cheng. At this moment, she did not have any other thoughts in her mind. The huge impact of the explosion of the artifacts caused Ning Cheng to fly high, but Ning Cheng soon fell back down again. At this time, Ji Luofei had just arrived at the entrance of the sandpit, as she immediately waved a long belt. The long belt wrapped around Ning Cheng, and with her hand, she unexpectedly pulled Ning Cheng out of the sandpit. Ji Luofei held back the excitement in her heart, as she reached out to hold Ning Cheng tightly, and used her fastest speed to escape. She was glad that the long belt on Ning Cheng's back was now on her body. She was glad that she did not hesitate to rush over, even if there was even half a moment of hesitation. Even if she arrived at the entrance of the sandpit, she could only helplessly watch Ning Cheng fall into the sandpit. Ji Luofei had just left with Ning Cheng, when the black and shriveled giant hand once again stretched out from the sandpit, but when it found that there was no one around, the black and shriveled palm once again slowly retracted into the sandpit. Half an hour later, Ji Luofei took a deep breath, and put Ning Cheng down. Then she carried Ning Cheng on her back, using the long belt in her hand to secure him, and then grabbed Ning Cheng's long spear in her hand. "Luofei, thank you. If not for you, I would have died this time." Ning Cheng, who was lying on Ji Luofei's back, spoke out with some lingering fear. "You lied to me." Ji Luofei suddenly spoke out in an inexplicable voice. "Ah." Ning Cheng was startled. He did not know what Ji Luofei meant. "You said that on that day, you knew that the result would be the same, so you told me to go first, and you to bring up the rear." Ji Luofei pursed her lips. "But why are you still like this today?" Ning Cheng opened his mouth. How could he have thought about it so much at that time? He subconsciously spoke up. "Two people, one going is better than the other not being able to walk away. That's why you came back to save me." "No, you had thrown me towards that black hand, and then you could have used that force to escape." Ji Luofei's voice even contained a hint of sobbing. Ning Qing did not do such a thing, instead he grabbed her and threw her away. In this case, Ning Cheng's speed of falling into the sandpit was even faster. Why are you so good to me? Chapter 86. Ning Qing did not answer, he was not in the mood to answer. He had already checked his injuries, and understood that his meridians were completely broken, and his dantian was completely cracked. This kind of terrible injury, not to mention him, even if it was the top place of an advanced level continent, they would not be able to treat it. To put it simply, he was already a cripple. Not to mention cultivation, wanting to keep his life was already extremely difficult. In the confrontation with the huge black shriveled palm in the sandpit, he had crazily burned his essence blood, and even went all out to detonate a few low-leveled artifacts, and was able to blow up the black shriveled palm. But at the same time, he was also hit by the terrible explosion. If not for the inner armor that he was wearing, perhaps his body would have already been blown out of shape. The joy of escaping from death, in an instant, disappeared completely. Bursts of pain came from his chest, he could not help but cough a few times. Ji Luofei was a smart person. After Ning Qing spoke a few words, he turned silent, followed by Ning Cheng's continuous coughing. She understood that Ning Cheng's injuries might not be optimistic. Where are you planning to go? Ji Luofei carefully asked. Ning Cheng was silent for a long time, and then said, I originally wanted to go to the Falling Star Academy, but now I think, Ning Cheng wanted to give the things to Ji Luofei, so that Ji Luofei could help him deliver them. Originally, Ning Cheng had said that he would give the things to Ko Hong if he had the opportunity. But because of Ko Hong's map, he had obtained a lot of opportunities to live. If he did not help Ko Hong fulfill his last wish, he felt that it would be wrong. He thanked Ko Hong from the bottom of his heart. The map that Ko Hong gave him looked very simple, but in fact, this map was made up of many bones stacked on top of each other. This kind of great kindness, he should definitely repay it. But when he thought of Ji Luofei being forced to marry someone in the Falling Star Academy, he did not want Ji Luofei to return to her original place. You don't have to worry. The Hua continent has a lot of healing pills, and now we also have some spirit stones. Your injuries can be easily healed. Ji Luofei comforted Ning Cheng. Ning Cheng was just about to speak, when he felt the mysterious yellow bead in his zifu suddenly start to rotate. An unrecognizable aura came out from the mysterious yellow bead. This aura in the slowest form began to reshape his meridians and dantian. As this kind of aura integrated into his meridians, Ning Cheng unexpectedly slowly became aware that the mysterious yellow bead was also gradually merging with him. That light yellow aura changed according to his will, and it was already affecting him. Was this the mysterious yellow origin? That's right, this was definitely the mysterious yellow origin that he had never been able to obtain before. Ning Cheng was so pleasantly surprised that he almost shouted out loud. He had thought that he could only feel the mysterious yellow origin when his cultivation level was very high, but he did not expect that he would be able to feel the mysterious yellow origin even though he only had the cultivation of true condensation realm. If he had known that all his meridians and dantian would have ruptured, then he would have been able to mobilize the mysterious yellow origin and fuse it into his body. Perhaps he would have already done so. Cultivating inside the mysterious yellow bead was several times faster than cultivating outside. The reason why he did not dare to enter the mysterious yellow bead to cultivate was because he was afraid that the aura of the mysterious yellow bead would be exposed. Even when he came to the Hua continent this time, he was still somewhat worried. He was afraid that some very high-level experts would be able to see through the mysterious yellow bead in his body. Now that the mysterious yellow origin was stimulated, it was able to transform and repair his meridians. Once his meridians were completely transformed, he was sure that the mysterious yellow bead would also be integrated with him, and no one would be able to detect it. Ning Cheng's happiness only lasted for the time it takes for half an incense stick to burn, before he once again started to worry. According to the speed at which the mysterious yellow origin was transforming his meridians and repairing his dantian, once his meridians and dantian were completely transformed and repaired, it would take at least 3 months. For more than 3 months, he did not have any strength. If he was in seclusion then it would not have mattered, but in this desert, what should he do? With Ji Luofei's strength, she absolutely could not guarantee the safety of the two of them. Should he find a place in the desert to go into seclusion and cultivate, or should he continue on his way? Ning Qing soon abandoned the idea of choosing an immortal cave in the desert. Rather than looking for an immortal cave in the desert, it would be better to continue on their way. In this kind of place like the Thunder Fall Desert for a few months, anything could happen. There was simply no safe place in this place. Whether they stopped or walked, it would be equally dangerous. It would be better to speed up their journey. Maybe in 2 months, they would already be out of the desert. Seeing that Ning Qing did not answer, Ji Luofei seemed to be able to feel Ning Cheng's mood, and secretly decided that no matter what, she would help Ning Cheng heal his injuries. You wait. Just as Ji Luofei was about to get up and continue on their way, Ning Cheng told her the direction that he knew, and let Ji Luofei continue on their way. Ji Luofei carried Ning Cheng on her back without stopping for even a moment. Ning Cheng on Ji Luofei's back allowed the mysterious yellow origin to constantly transform his meridians, as well as repair his dantian. Unfortunately, he was simply unable to intervene in this process, otherwise he would have definitely done everything in his power to speed up the healing process. Along the way, Ji Luofei, in addition to avoiding a few simple desert whirlpools, as well as a few low-level desert monstrous beasts, the two of them unexpectedly did not encounter any other dangers. 2 months passed by, when Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei heard a faint singing voice, and then saw the yellow haze in front of them dissipate. The two of them knew that the Thunder Fall Desert was already behind them, and that they had finally come out of the Thunder Fall Desert. We've arrived at the Hua continent. Ji Luofei looked at the distant hazy mountain range, as her original hesitation disappeared. Now that Ning Cheng was seriously injured, she had to help Ning Cheng take care of him, so there was no need for them to separate. Ning Cheng coughed a few times. Ji Luofei quickly patted Ning Cheng's back and said, "Let's first find a place to stay, and then I'll help you look for healing herbs." Ning Cheng quickly said, "Luofei, you don't have to help me look for healing herbs. I'm aware of my own injuries. In fact, I've already started to heal myself. At most in a month and a half, my injuries will definitely recover." But Ji Luofei did not believe Ning Cheng's words. For the past 2 months, Ning Cheng had been coughing, moreover his true essence had also not been restored. How could she believe that Ning Cheng could heal himself? At this time, the singing voice in the distance was getting closer, as a beast carriage came over. The one who was singing was the driver of the beast carriage. As the driver of the beast carriage arrived at the side of Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei, and took the initiative to stop, "Do the two of you want to take the beast carriage to the Shapai town?" "My carriage is heading back to the Shapai town. If you want to go, then I can give you a ride." Ji Luofei was just about to refuse, as she was not slow while carrying Ning Cheng, but Ning Cheng pulled her back and said, "We will first take the beast carriage to the Shapai town. You should also take a rest." Regarding Ning Cheng's words, Ji Luofei never refuted, and immediately said to the driver, "In that case, we will take your beast carriage to the Shapai town." The driver quickly got off the carriage, opened the door and said, "The two of you, please come in." Ning Cheng saw that there was already a young woman inside the carriage, and felt a bit strange. The driver seemed to know that Ning Cheng was feeling strange, and quickly said, "My carriage is going to the Thunder Fall Desert's Peng Estate relay station, so there are only a few people on the way back." Ning Cheng came to understand, originally this was a return carriage. Just like Li Xiao's carriage, there was an empty carriage. After the driver saw Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei sit down, he quickly closed the door, and once again drove the beast carriage away. Generally speaking, for the people on the edge of the desert, he never talked about the price. When these people got off, the price they gave would not be low. If he talked about the price, then not only would it leave a bad impression on the people, but it was possible that he would get even less. He had been pulling carriages in this area for a long time, and was already aware of this rule. When it was good, he only needed to pull a single person on the way back, and the amount of gold coins he would get would be much more than when he pulled a carriage full of people. The young woman sitting inside the carriage was wearing a set of black tights, with a thin veil covering her face. Ning Qing glanced at her. She had the cultivation of qi gathering 9th level. Even if she was sitting, he could see that this woman had a very good figure. Her clothes outlined her curves very clearly, plus her skin was also very good. This was definitely a beauty. But when she saw that Ning Qing still needed Ji Luofei to help him get into the carriage, she even coughed a few times, and her eyes were filled with disdain. When her eyes swept towards the spear that Ji Luofei was holding for Ning Qing, the disdain in her eyes became even more intense. Although the spear was wrapped in a cloth, but she could still see the broken spear hilt, which she could still see. Ji Luofei was never a talkative person, and even if she wanted to talk, she would only talk to Ning Qing. Inside the carriage, there was another black-robed woman. She just glanced at her, and no longer paid any attention to her. Ning Qing, of course, would also not pay attention to a woman in the same carriage. Although there were 3 people in the same carriage, but it was very quiet, other than the occasional singing of the driver and the hoofbeats of the stone-horned beast, there was no other sound. Chapter 87. Ning Qing could feel that his meridians had already recovered by more than 90%, and even his dantian was becoming more and more perfect. He believed that as long as he had a little more time, his meridians would be completely reshaped. At that time, even if his cultivation did not improve, his true essence would be much thicker and smoother than before. Ji Luofei was somewhat puzzled as she looked at this black-robed woman. They were about to reach Shapai town. Why did they want to get off here? The black-robed woman gave Ning Qing a blank look, and muttered, "You don't know what's good for you, but you still don't know what's good for you." Ji Luofei really wanted this pill, but after she heard Ning Qing's words, she had no choice but to refuse. "Thank you, but we do not need it." Time quickly passed by. Ning Qing and Ji Luofei lived in seclusion in the carriage driver's courtyard, and in a blink of an eye half a month had passed by. Ning Qing was moved in his heart. The courtyard in front of him was really not small. Not only was it not small, but the surroundings were also relatively spacious. Living here was much more comfortable than living in the rest stop. But this kind of silence did not last long, as Ning Qing's stifled coughs broke the silence of the carriage. His meridians had not yet completely closed, but Ning Qing was already aware of the formidable feeling he was feeling. "Many thanks, we are not particular about living here." Ning Qing quickly thanked him. For him, living in the home of a coachman who had never cultivated before, was much better than living in a rest stop with people coming and going. But the more essential difference was that after the mysterious yellow origin had completely transformed his meridians, they were no longer in the fragile state they were in before. Even his corporeal body was a lot tougher than before. Not knowing how much time had passed, Ning Qing's whole body shook. The next moment his face revealed a look of ecstasy. When the sky was turning dark, the voice of the carriage driver arrived. "We are about to arrive at the Shapai town." The carriage driver spoke in a very casual manner. "Just give me something. If it is not convenient, then it doesn't matter if you don't give it. My carriage is just passing by, so it doesn't take much effort." This courtyard was really good. The carriage driver, in order to thank Ning Qing for the many gold coins, deliberately left the largest house for Ning Qing and Ji Luofei. Although his cultivation did not advance, but on the contrary regressed, but it did not matter, because Ning Qing clearly understood the reason why his cultivation had regressed. Not only were his meridians much wider than before, they were also much tougher. The coachman was somewhat excited as he received the gold coins from Ning Qing, and spoke in a somewhat careful manner. "My family's courtyard is very big, and there are also many empty houses. If you don't mind, you can stay here. If you want to go to a rest stop, the Shapai rest stop in the south of the town is the largest." The beast carriage ran all the way, and apart from the driver taking a short break, it didn't stop at all. That black-robed woman seemed to have been rejected by Ning Qing once, causing her to feel somewhat unhappy in her heart. As such, she did not bother to speak again. The coachman quickly said, this is the courtyard of my house. Friend, if you cross the road in front, you will reach the main street. It is not far. My beast carriage is not allowed to go to the main street, it can only be parked in front of my courtyard. Thinking like this, Ning Cheng subconsciously glanced at the pill in the hands of the black-robed woman. When he saw the pill in the black-robed woman's hand, he was extremely shocked. It was actually a high-grade level 3 spiritual nourishment pill. The coachman's eyes lit up, but he immediately said, This is too much. The remaining 10% of his broken meridians, in the shortest time possible, were completely reshaped at a speed that was dozens of times faster than before. The last few cracks in his dantian were washed away by the mysterious yellow origin chi, and in just a twinkling of an eye, there was not even half a scar left. Letting out a sigh, Ning Cheng put away the spear. He felt that he should first inform Ji Luofei. He could not let Ji Luofei continue to worry about him. The black-robed woman looked at Ning Cheng, and then looked at Ji Luofei. After thinking for a while, the disdain in her eyes also gradually disappeared. She guessed that she had guessed wrong, that the person inside the carriage with her should not be a husband and wife, but rather a brother and sister relationship. Ning Cheng looked somewhat vicissitudes of life, and estimated that he was not young, he should be the elder brother. For Ning Cheng, gold coins really did not have much use, as he had nearly 100 gold coins in his hand. Ning Cheng did not know what was going on at this moment, but he knew that this was definitely his opportunity. At this moment, how could he be distracted? At this moment he almost put all of his concentration into the reshaping of his meridians. I really did not guess it. Is your elder brother seriously injured or seriously ill? After the black-robed woman found that her guess was correct, her mood became very good. Under the guidance of Ning Cheng, Ji Luofei arranged a level 1 concealment defensive array. As for the spiritual gathering array, Ning Cheng did not dare to arrange it. Once the spiritual gathering array was arranged, the spiritual chi would start to flow towards them, which would not be good for them. There were very few cultivators in the Sha Pai town, as such a level 1 concealment array for Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei, it was more than enough. Otherwise, how could a woman like Ji Luofei be together with such a sick ghost? After the coachman left, Ning Cheng took out a pile of array flags and gave them to Ji Luofei. Luofei, we will stay here for a month and a half. I will have to heal myself. After this month and a half passes, we will then leave. These array flags are for arranging concealment and defensive array flags. My Zifu is seriously injured, and my spiritual sense is very weak. I will tell you about it now, you can arrange it. Okay. Ji Luofei knew that Ning Cheng was seriously injured, and would not be able to go further, as such staying in the Sha Pai town was the best choice. Luofei, you can cultivate here, try not to go to the lively places in the Sha Pai town. As for my injuries, I am well aware of them, there will definitely not be any problems. After Ning Cheng arranged the array formations, he still repeatedly told Ji Luofei. He was afraid that Ji Luofei would be worried about him, and would not listen to his words, and take the initiative to go to the town to look for pills to heal his injuries. Ning Cheng had just stood up. When he frowned, he once again saw that black-robed woman. But at this time, that black-robed woman was covered with blood, and was anxiously standing in the courtyard as she spoke to Ji Luofei. The coachman seemed to know that Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei were not ordinary people. Since he had arranged for the two of them to stay in his courtyard, he had never come to disturb them. Besides, this black-robed woman only had the cultivation of chi gathering 9th level, how could she have any good pills? Ning Cheng knew that he was not only seriously injured, but also that his meridians were starting to reshape under the influence of the mysterious yellow origin. How could he take a pill at this time? Even if it was an immortal pill, he did not want to use it. On this day, Ning Cheng was calculating how long it would take for his meridians to be completely reshaped, when he felt the flow of the mysterious yellow origin chi suddenly accelerate. Moreover, the speed at which his meridians were being reshaped also suddenly accelerated. Alright, how many gold coins? Ning Cheng nodded and asked. The toughness was what surprised Ning Qing the most, the tenacity of his meridians. It meant that he would be able to withstand the pressure and the potential for development. In the future he would be able to climb to a higher realm. No, thank you. Ning Qing directly refused the black-robed woman's spiritual enhancement pill. No matter what aspect he considered it from, he did not want to talk to this woman. Ning Qing raised his hand, and the broken spear immediately fell into his palm. He almost wanted to test the might of his spear with all his strength. I have a healing pill here, I will give it to you. You can rest assured, as long as you take this pill, your elder brother's injuries will definitely be healed. The black-robed woman suddenly took out a white pill and handed it to Ji Luofei. He is seriously injured. Ji Luofei was not used to ignoring people. Now that someone else asked her, she had to answer once again. The meridians in his body were emitting bursts of ka-ka sounds, as well as the gurgling sound of the true essence flowing through his body. Ning Qing could even hear it. Wait, I will get off here. The black-robed woman suddenly called out to the coachman. Ji Luofei had just helped Ning Qing up, when the coachman opened the door. For a Qi-gathering 9th level cultivator to casually give out a rank 3 spiritual enhancement pill, it showed that this woman was definitely not ordinary. For such an unusual woman to ride in a beast carriage, it was even more strange. Ning Qing could only use a little of his spiritual sense. He could vaguely feel that this woman was concealing her own aura. After the black-robed woman got off, the beast carriage, in less than the time it took for an incense stick to burn, entered the Sha Pai town, and then stopped in front of a courtyard house. You should be brother and sister, right? The black-robed woman took the initiative to ask. Where is this? Ning Qing looked at the courtyard house, but did not see any streets, nor did he see any rest stop. His cultivation had regressed, because his meridians were simply not comparable to before. If his true essence was compared to flowing water, then his meridians had changed from a stream to a river. As long as he continued to cultivate, his strength at true condensation first level would be several times stronger than before. Ji Luofei had never taken anything from a stranger, but when she heard the black-robed woman say that this white pill could help Ning Qing recover, she immediately wanted to take it. However, she still looked at Ning Qing, and wanted to know what Ning Qing thought. Ning Qing knew the thoughts of this coachman, but he still had a good impression of him. He took out a handful of gold coins and handed it to the coachman and said, "These are for you." Ji Luofei felt that Ning Qing was slowly recovering, and her nervous mind also gradually relaxed a bit. At the same time, her cultivation also advanced by leaps and bounds. Not only was her spiritual sense restored, but her cultivation had also advanced from the early stages of Qi gathering 5th level to the peak of the 5th level. In her view, although Ji Luofei was disfigured, but regardless of which aspect, Ning Qing was not worthy of her. If she could restore her appearance, then even she might not be as good as this woman in front of her. Ji Luofei's face turned slightly red. She seemed to be overly worried about Ning Qing. Now that the black-robed woman asked, she could only noncommittally give a low "n" sound. She was too embarrassed to explain the relationship between her and Ning Qing. Ning Qing was too lazy to pay attention to this black-robed woman, while Ji Luofei was completely worried about Ning Qing, and did not speak much. Ning Qing stuffed all the gold coins into the hands of the coachman and said, "If we had not met you, it would have been very difficult for us to reach the Sha Pai town so quickly. You tell me, which rest stop is better?" Chapter 88. Ning Qing could feel that this black-robed woman had suffered a serious injury. Fortunately her healing pills were also good, as such her injuries were already improving. "Are you feeling better?" Ji Luofei saw Ning Qing come out, moreover his complexion was much better than before. She quickly came forward to support Ning Qing, and asked in a pleasantly surprised voice. "Much better, I think that we can leave this place in 2 days." Ning Qing looked at Ji Luofei and smiled. If not for studying the Imperial Jade Seal, perhaps he would have already planned to leave. Ji Luofei remembered the black-robed woman on the side, and said to Ning Cheng with some hesitation, because she was besieged, she was seriously injured, now that she has no place to hide, she could only return to the Shanghai town. She did not dare to enter the rest stop in the Shanghai town, but she happened to see me here, so. Ning Cheng finally understood, he had not guessed wrong, this woman really was troublesome. He did not know where the pills on her body came from, it was estimated that she had revealed her wealth, and ended up being besieged. For a woman like her who only had the cultivation of Qi-gathering realm, to casually take out a spiritual growth pill to a stranger for the first time, sooner or later she would be targeted. Although Ning Cheng did not care about these things, it did not mean that others would not care. Now that this black-robed woman really met with trouble, Ning Cheng did not even need to ask, he could guess that this woman must have found her pills in another place, and ended up in an accident. This woman looked deep and incomparably shrewd, but turned out to be an idiot. Moreover, a woman with such a hot figure like her, wandering outside, and wearing such tight clothes to set off her figure, it was obvious that she did not have any experience at all. This elder brother, I can only stay for 2 days at most, as long as you take me in for 2 days, once my injuries are healed, I can escape. When the black-robed woman saw Ning Cheng frown, she no longer had the disdain that she had when she first saw Ning Cheng, she had already seen it clearly, between Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei, it was Ning Cheng who called the shots. Ji Luofei looked at Ning Cheng expectantly, she hoped that Ning Cheng would take in this black-robed woman, firstly because this black-robed woman had healing pills on her. Of course, when this woman gave them healing pills for no reason, although Ning Cheng did not want it, Ji Luofei was still very grateful in her heart. She was a person who knew how to repay kindness. Ning Cheng nodded, well, you can stay here for 2 days. After 2 days, we will also be leaving this place. That's great, thank you, my name is Zhu Mu'er, I don't know the names of the two of you. When the black-robed woman heard that Ning Cheng wanted to shelter her for 2 days, she immediately became happy. Just call me Luofei. Ji Luofei quickly replied. I am called Ning Xiao Cheng, Luofei, you take Zhu Mu'er to the rightmost room to rest. I want to go into seclusion for 2 days. Ning Cheng was not willing to have a deep friendship with this Zhu Mu'er, but at the same time he also wanted to go into seclusion to study the Imperial Jade Seal. As for taking in Zhu Mu'er, Ning Cheng was not worried at all. With Zhu Mu'er's cultivation, she was able to escape unscathed to this place, which clearly showed that her opponent was only at this level. Now that he had recovered his cultivation, his strength was even higher than before. Even if Zhu Mu'er's enemies came looking for him, he would not be afraid. You want to go into seclusion? Zhu Mu'er looked at Ning Cheng in amazement, in her opinion, Ning Cheng was just a sickly invalid. A sickly invalid dared to say that he wanted to go into seclusion. Fortunately, she was clear that she was asking for shelter, seeing that Ning Cheng did not answer her, she did not dare to speak any more nonsense. Ji Luofei felt that Ning Cheng did not like this Zhu Mu'er, so she quickly took Zhu Mu'er to the rightmost room in the house, and told Zhu Mu'er not to disturb Ning Cheng. Sister Luofei, you can rest assured, I do not have enough time to heal myself, how would I have the time to disturb your elder brother? Thank you for taking me in, if you have the time I will take you to my house to play. Zhu Mu'er's suspicions came quickly, but disappeared even faster. After settling Zhu Mu'er down, Ji Luofei once again returned to Ning Cheng's room. Ning Cheng stopped Ji Luofei's words, Luofei, from now on just call me Ning Xiao Cheng. Before that woman called Zhu Mu'er did not come, I did not tell you about it. In that carriage, Zhu Mu'er casually took out a level 3 spiritual enhancement pill, which shows that her background is not ordinary. Both of us do not have any backing, so we should try to minimize our contact with such people. Okay, I understand. Ji Luofei nodded, as she approached Ning Cheng, and grabbed Ning Cheng's wrist, she wanted to see if Ning Cheng's injuries were any better. Ning Cheng patted Ji Luofei's hand and said, Luofei, my injuries have basically recovered, you do not have to worry about it. I was just going to talk to you about this matter. These next few days I will have to go into seclusion to study some things. You also have to seize the time to cultivate. Hearing Ning Qing say that his injuries were almost healed, Ji Luofei was overjoyed, and quickly replied, I know, you go into seclusion first, when you come out I will come back again. After Ji Luofei left, Ning Qing arranged a few concealment array formations in his room, and then took out the imperial jade seal. The imperial jade seal had a pale golden color on the outside, and was very exquisite, but when held in his hands it was very heavy. Ning Qing had also seen some pictures of imperial jade seals. Generally the imperial jade seals of a country were engraved with a dragon-shaped jade carving. But the imperial jade seal in his hands only had a bird engraved on it that Ning Qing did not recognize. Below the bird was a small cube, and the bottom of the cube was engraved with the words Lani Country. Ning Qing touched the 4 words Lani Country with his hand, but could not feel anything special about it. His spiritual sense swept onto the imperial jade seal, but could not sweep into the imperial jade seal. Ning Qing tried to use his spiritual sense to refine the imperial jade seal, but even after half a day, the imperial jade seal did not have even the slightest reaction. It did not seem to be an artifact. If it was not an artifact, Ning Qing was sure that his spiritual sense would be able to penetrate into the imperial jade seal, but his spiritual sense was not able to penetrate into it. Ning Qing took out his spear, and using 10% of his true essence, he struck the imperial jade seal with his spear. When the spear hit the imperial jade seal, it gave out a sound similar to hitting a piece of leather. There was no clear sound. The imperial jade seal also did not budge, not to mention opening the imperial jade seal, there was not even a trace of it. Such a hard imperial jade seal, this kind of hardness was definitely an artifact. Ning Qing once again took the imperial jade seal in his hands, and began to refine it. 2 days passed by in a flash, but the imperial jade seal in Ning Qing's hands did not change even half a bit, it still remained motionless. Ning Qing dispiritedly put down the imperial jade seal in his hands. He simply had no way to open the imperial jade seal. In desperation, Ning Qing once again put away the imperial jade seal, and opened the door. You finally came out of your seclusion. I have to leave, so I just happened to say hello to you. This time I really have to thank you, although those people thought that I did not return to the Sha Pai town, but I am still very grateful to you. Zhu Mu'er and Ji Luofei were already sitting outside talking. Seeing Ning Qing come out, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative to stand up and greet him. The veil covering Zhu Mu'er's face had already been removed, revealing a delicate oval face, coupled with a pair of not-so-small eyes. It made her look very pretty. Then I wish you a pleasant journey, Ning Qing quickly said. Zhu Mu'er waved her hand and said, Don't worry, didn't you say that you were going to leave this place? Where are you going? If it's along the way, then we might as well go together. Not waiting for Ning Qing to answer, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative and said, I am going to the Moze City's Falling Star 5-Star Academy, but I have to first go to the Shiqin City and take the airship there. If you want to go to these 2 places, then you can come with me. What are you going to do in the Falling Star Academy? Ning Qing had originally planned to go to the Falling Star Academy first, and then go to the Clear Sky Academy. Now that Zhu Mu'er was coincidentally going to the Falling Star Academy, it made him even more cautious. Zhu Mu'er once again gave Ning Qing a blank look and said, Ning Shaoqing, if I were you, I would have already taken my sister to the Moze City. The Moze City's 5-star academies are recruiting students in order to participate in the upcoming tournament of the 5-star academies. Of course, I am going there to participate in the recruitment, and then enter the 5-star academies to prepare for the tournament. Although your qualifications are ordinary, but I can see that Luofei's qualifications are very good, although her cultivation level is not enough to participate in the tournament, but she has the opportunity to enter the outer court of the 5-star academies. If you take Luofei with you, in this kind of place where even birds don't shit, you will never be able to make progress, and will always be at the bottom. Ning Qing glanced at the curvy Zhu Mu'er and said, Miss Zhu presumably comes from a rich family. We and Luo Fei are people who have never seen the world, although we also want to go to the Moze city, but we will have to walk slowly. Miss Zhu can go first, we can walk slowly. Seeing Ning Qing glance at her hot skin-tight clothes, Zhu Mu'er blushed and said, You wait a minute. Saying that, she quickly entered the room. After a short while, when Zhu Mu'er came out again, she had already changed into an ordinary woman's long dress. Then she proudly looked at Ning Qing and said, Now you should not have any pressure, right? I am not happy with my father saying that I am too delicate and willful, and that I am too dependent, so I came out to do something for him to see. But when he saw that I was selected by the 5-star academies, and then obtained the top few places in the tournament, he would know that I, Zhu Mu'er, am not what he thought. Ning Qing then came to understand, originally this Zhu Mu'er came out to prove that she was the miss. This Zhu Mu'er's father really has a good eye, he really did not misjudge his own daughter. I will take you to the Moze city, at most it will only take a few days, if you go by yourself, maybe you will have to walk for a few months. Zhu Mu'er saw that Ning Qing was in a daze, and proudly said again. Ning Qing felt relieved in his heart, since that was the case, then he decided to follow Zhu Mu'er to the Moze city. In the Hua continent, flying on a flying sword was much more dangerous than in the Ping continent. Chapter 89. Zhu Mu'er really did not brag about the route, nor did she lie. Under her leadership, the three of them only took 2 days, before they arrived at the Shiqin city, and boarded the airship heading towards the Moze city. Although there were no booths, but the airship's main hall had a variety of services, there was also a sound tablet broadcasting. It looked very good. Those who could board the airship were relatively wealthy cultivators, because the airship did not accept gold coins, and only accepted spirit stones. Ning Qing looked at the airship's main hall filled with cultivators, and knew that the cultivators from the Hua continent were much richer than the Ping continent. Ning Qing and Ji Luo Fei's spirit stones were paid by Zhu Mu'er. Zhu Mu'er showed her generosity, and did not allow Ji Luo Fei to use spirit stones to pay for the airship. The three of them chose a table near the side of the cabin and sat down. The airship's flight time was 2 days. For a cultivator, sitting for 2 days was really nothing. Most of the cultivators in the main hall were talking about the recruitment of the 5-star academies. Ning Qing listened for a while, and had some understanding about it. Because the 5-star academies were recruiting students in the Moze city, almost all the cultivators from the Hua continent had the opportunity to go. In addition to the Hua continent, there were also some cultivators from the Ping continent and the Yuan continent. Because there were a lot of people, some of the 3- and 4-star academies in the Hua continent and many of the good sects had also come to the Moze city to recruit students. After all, the 5-star academies only had so many students, many of them could not join the 5-star academies, so they chose the 4-star academies, or some of the big sects. This kind of scene reminded Ning Qing of the Clear Heart Academy in the Nanyuan city. It seems that no matter where, as long as the academy was recruiting students, it would attract a large number of people. Zhu Mu'er looked at the cultivators who were talking, and spoke to herself with disdain, a group of people who do not know the immensity of heaven and earth. They think that by going to the Moze city they would be selected by the advanced level academies. It is simply a dream. If the advanced level academies were so easy to enter, then they would not be called advanced level academies. Ning Qing was too lazy to speak. Zhu Mu'er's tone was to go to the Moze city to participate in the advanced level academy selection, as long as she went. As for the rest of the people, it would be best if they did not go. Ji Luo Fei, who usually did not speak much, suddenly asked, Elder Sister Mu'er, in the 5-star academies, if there are people with outstanding results, would they be selected to go to an intermediate class continent? Ning Qing immediately understood that Ji Luofei was helping him ask this question. He had asked Ji Luofei about this matter before. When Zhu Mu'er heard Ji Luofei call her as elder sister Mu'er, she seemed to be extremely happy, and even answered carefully, "This time the tournament of the 5-star academies is to promote a 6-star academy in the Hua continent. Students with excellent results in the tournament would definitely be selected to go to the intermediate level continents. Moreover, even if they were not selected to go to a mid-level continent, the rewards for the top few would still be incomparably amazing. I heard that the first place will not only be rewarded with a medium-grade spiritual artifact, but also a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, an essence-building pill and 3,000 high-grade spirit stones." Ning Qing, who was standing at the side, when he heard about the storage bag, immediately moved in his heart. His storage bag was only a meter in diameter, as such it simply could not fit the spear in his hands. If he had a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, he would definitely be able to store the spear in his hand. The price of the storage bag was very high. Every time it was doubled, the price of the storage bag would increase by more than 10 times. Ning Qing knew that he would not be able to afford a storage bag at this moment. Heavens, 3,000 high-grade spirit stones, that is equivalent to 300,000 low-grade spirit stones, that's a lot. When someone heard Zhu Mu'er's words, he quickly exclaimed. Compared to an essence-building pill, a medium-grade spiritual artifact and a storage bag with a circumference of 10 feet, 3,000 high-grade spirit stones should not be considered much, right? Another person interjected. In fact, these are not the biggest rewards. I heard that the top 20 would have the opportunity to go to the Angry Axe Valley. There are many high-level spiritual grasses piled up like a mountain. Just by walking a few steps, you would be able to find a top-quality crafting material. What is the Angry Axe Valley? How come I have never heard of it? This cultivator who was talking endlessly was interrupted by a question from the side. I do not know, I only heard it from others. I only know that there are many good things here, moreover it is not in the Hua continent. I know that you are talking nonsense. If there really was such a place, then there would have already been a powerhouse who would have gone there. Why would they wait for others? As the two cultivators argued, one of them explained, the Angry Axe Valley really does exist. I have also heard about it, but I also heard that there is a cultivation level restriction in order to enter. Moreover, this valley is because of an axe that fell from the void. After that axe fell into the valley, it brought with it an aura similar to spiritual qi. Afterwards, there were more and more treasures here, and more people went in to explore these treasures. But it is very dangerous inside, and more than half of the people who went in perished. After countless years, the Angry Axe Valley has a restriction on who can go in, and not everyone can go in. What you mean is, there are also some powerhouses relics here. I have also heard about it, whether it is true or not, I do not know. Besides, even if it is true, we do not have a chance. If the entire Hua continent's top 20 were so easy to obtain, then you would have already become a core disciple of a 5-star academy. Not only from the Hua continent, I heard that this time the 5-star academies have also recruited many talented disciples from the Ping continent and the Yuan continent. These people's qualifications are very good. Once they are trained by the 5-star academies, they would absolutely not be any weaker than the geniuses of the Hua continent. Along with the ranking issue, more and more people started to talk about it. Soon the topic turned to the 5-star academies. Which one was the better one? Seeing Ji Luofei and Ning Qing not speaking, Zhu Mu'er took the initiative and said, "Younger sister Luofei, with your qualifications, even if you are not selected by the 5-star academies, the 4-star academies would definitely fight for you. As for your brother Shao Cheng, as long as you enter a 4-star academy, it would not be a problem for you to become an outer sect disciple." The airship's speed was extremely fast, and in less than 2 days, it had already landed in the Moze city's relay station square. This kind of airship from outside was not allowed to fly directly into the Moze city. Ning Cheng and Ji Luofei followed the crowd off the airship, and decided to first enter the Moze city to find a rest stop, and then go to the Falling Star Academy to look for Meng Yujing. After listening to the discussions of the people on the airship, Ning Qing already knew that the 5 5-star academies of the Hua continent were the Thunder Academy, the Clear Sky Academy, the Falling Star Academy, the Luo Ho Academy and the God Wind Academy. The reason why the selection of the students was held in the Moze city was not because the strength of the Falling Star Academy in the Moze city was much more powerful, but because a powerhouse from an intermediate class continent had come to like the Moze city, and had decided to stay in the Moze city. Since the powerhouse from the intermediate class continent had decided to stay in the Moze city, then the rest of the academies and sects of the Hua continent, of course, would also come to the Moze city. Ning Xiaocheng, Luo Fei, I'll be leaving first, wait for me to join the Falling Star Academy, maybe I can help you. After Zhu Mu'er got off the airship, she happily waved to Ning Cheng and Ji Luo Fei, and impatiently followed the crowd towards the Moze city. Ji Luo Fei looked at the countless cultivators rushing towards the Moze city, and spoke with some worry in her voice. Xiao Cheng, when I left here, there were not so many people, but now that there are so many people, I'm afraid that it would be difficult to find a place to stay. Otherwise. Ji Luo Fei was already used to calling him Xiao Cheng along the way. Now that Zhu Mu'er had left, she did not change the way she addressed him. When Ning Cheng heard Ji Luo Fei's words, he immediately understood her meaning, and simply waved his hand and said, Luo Fei, even if we do not enter the Moze city, I will not go and find your aunt. Your aunt is a kind of person, I simply do not like her. Ji Luo Fei gave a faint smile and said, then I'll listen to you. From the bottom of her heart, she was not willing to go and find her aunt, but she was afraid that Ning Cheng would not have a place to rest. The Moze city was different from other cities. There was a fee to enter the city, but it was not in the form of spirit stones, but rather in the form of gold coins. Each trip in and out would cost 10 gold coins. If it was an ordinary cultivator, then this was simply not a lot of money. But for some of the people who could not cultivate, this was a sky-high price. However, this Moze city was a big city, and the people who lived there were basically cultivators. Some of the people who could not cultivate, in addition to being servants in some of the big clans, most of them did not live in the Moze city, but rather lived in the surroundings of the Moze city. Ning Cheng brought Ji Luo Fei into the Moze city, and the first thing he saw was a large street that was more than 10 feet wide. This street was really too conspicuous. Not only was it spacious, but it was also bustling. From time to time on the street, there were some people riding fierce beasts passing by. Ji Luo Fei whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, these people riding these tamed fierce beasts are the disciples of some of the big clans. As for the people from other places, it is very rare for them to ride these fierce beasts. At this time, a red fierce beast did not know what frightened it, but it suddenly roared, and rushed into the crowd. Ning Cheng was surprised in his heart. Could it be that this Moze city was the same as the Tsangla city, where people could let their beasts rampage unscrupulously in the streets? Ning Cheng soon knew that this was not the case. He could see that the face of the youth who was riding on the back of the fierce beast was somewhat pale. Apparently he did not think that his beast would suddenly be frightened. Several pedestrians who were not paying attention were hit by the fierce beast. Fortunately most of the people on the street were cultivators, and were able to get out of the way in time. Although the fierce beast rushed out more than 10 meters away, it did not cause any casualties. Seeing that the speed of the fierce beast was getting faster and faster, and was about to rush into the denser crowd, a white shadow suddenly jumped down from the restaurant on the side. This white shadow grabbed the head of the rushing fierce beast. The fierce beast seemed to have hit a solid iron wall. It uttered a loud roar, and was forced back more than 10 steps, before it came to a stop while foaming at the mouth. At this time the crowd could clearly see that the white shadow was actually a young man wearing a white robe. He was abruptly using his own hand to control the rushing fierce beast. A burst of cheers and applause resounded. Many of the people who came to the Moze city for the first time were looking forward to the Moze city even more. Ji Luo Fei pulled Ning Cheng to the side, and whispered in Ning Cheng's ear, this person is Moze city's Shui clan's Shui Yu. My aunt had given me a portrait of him. It was this person who wanted my aunt to marry me to him. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.